Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon. Hope you are doing well. Hope you are fine. Thank you very much for tuning in to always this fantastic show that happens here at Kenya Newslink. I'm your host, as usual, Jakes, the moderator, and this is Kenya Newslink. And of course, we are about to have a fantastic evening together with you. All right. I have enough content for you to enjoy. I have enough information to pass across to you. So hii ni ile show unakaa chini una relax alafu unajinice tunapoendelea mosmos tu taratibu hadi tunapofika tamati. Karibu tu sana. Welcome ladies and gentlemen. I have a great one for you. I'll be telling you why this show is so good because where the information herein utaipata tu hapa, the conversations that happens utazipata tu hapa Kenya Newslink. Wakaribisha wawili watatu kwa kulike, subscribing equally to Kenya Newslink. Welcome so very much. Ndio tu tumeanza show na tunakukaribisha wewe na wengine wengi. Karibu sana. Hapa ndipo kila kitu kinatokea. Hapa. All right. Probably you are hoping it will not happen. Probably your prayer was that it won't happen. But finally, it is happening. I'm talking to the Azimio supporters. Maybe they were thinking it won't happen, but it is happening. What am I talking about? Baba is finally leaving Kenyan politics, given what transpired today. I'll be letting you know what transpired today in his quest for AUC. This is a position that in 2025 will change guard when the current chairperson Faki or rather retires from the position. So who comes next? It's Raila Odinga. Why is it Raila Odinga? I'll be telling you in just a short while. Now, let me take you back to what today was supposed to be. Today, there was a deliberation that was to be made concerning who should really be the chairperson. Should it be a woman? Should it be a man? And as well, which region should take up the position? And that decision was made today. And I'll be telling you who will likely get that position. Of course, you know it's one Raila Odinga. Now, does he have someone opposing him from AUC? The answer is a definite no. So he is the only candidate so far from East Africa. So that means there's a lot that you need to understand once he is the only candidate. It almost means that he can be elected almost slightly unopposed. Almost slightly unopposed. We don't know what happens to the other regions. I don't know if they will still feel they need to flag in a candidate, but so far so good. And I'll be telling you so much about what it means for Raila Odinga getting that chair and for Raila Odinga moving on to the African politics, or rather African leadership. So what happens to Kenyans? What happens to ODM? What happens to Azimio? What happens to you, the adamant supporter, the diehard supporter of Raila Odinga? Some were hoping this will not happen, but it is happening. It is now almost cast in stone. All right. If all goes well, God willing, I can assure it that Raila Odinga becomes the next AUC chairperson. And now what that means is that we will need to replace him in ODM. We will need to replace him in Azimio. We will need to replace him in as far as Kenyan politics is concerned. I don't know what you make about that, but where it's becoming interesting, I'll be playing you what Paul Kagame has said concerning this. I'll be playing you what AUC has equally done concerning this. I'll be playing you several sentiments in as far as AUC chairperson process is concerned. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. On the same breath, I'll be telling you a lot today concerning the doctor strike, how it has affected our country this far, and what it means for you and me. You who has a sick patient, a sick person in the hospital, you who is sick, you who seeks medical services, you who probably in one way or another need dialysis, need to be taken care. Of course, in one way or another, we need the hospitals. But where the health crisis in Kenya right now is not taking a good turn, I'll be talking about it in a short while. Equally, we'll be looking at the education crisis happening now in Kenya. It's now becoming an almost a serious and alarming issue that capitation is yet to be submitted to our schools. Teachers are already complaining. Heads of school are already complaining. Okay, so what is your take in all this? Because as much as we are told the dollar is doing well, as much as we were told the other day, or rather yesterday, that the fuel prices have come down from to as low as below 200 in all the fuels, that is petrol, diesel, and even kerosene. All of them now are below 200 Kenya shillings, with the highest at around 199. That is super petrol for you. So what does that all mean? Despite that it's coming down, yes, but where wadau, it's still a pain in that health is an issue, education is an issue. So with fuel coming down, what does that even signify to our economy? So those are the things we'll be looking at, and equally try to make sense of all that in this particular show. We'll be looking at what it means for Raila Odinga moving out. Does it now mean that William Ruto, despite all these challenges that we are having as a country, he might really sail through unopposed in 2027? The general politics in Kenya definitely will take a different shape. Here is where we'll see the clamor to inherit Raila Odinga in terms of his ODM, in terms of Azimio, and every other thing that I've just said will come into play. So basically what we'll be looking at in this show is all that: the political angle, the economic angle, because of what is happening, that is the doctor strike and the education issue, and of course the move of Raila Odinga and what that means to both William Ruto and to Kenya politics. So those are the things we'll be looking at in this show. So as you have heard, it's a jammed show. It's a show with enough content for you to enjoy. So what do? You just sit back, relax. You can participate by sending in your comments and equally your sentiments of what you feel. What is your take concerning all that will be discussed here in this particular show? So ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're in this conversation in so many ways. One, you can participate by commenting. You can equally participate by joining in live. I'll be showing you how to do that in a jiffy so that you can be part of this great conversation. I'll equally be playing several clips to substantiate what we have been talking about, and equally to make you even come to terms with what is happening if you're far from our country, and even if you are also in our country, you'll also be equally informed what is happening in our country. So ni show moja fiti, ni show moja kali, so karibu tu sana. All right, I have really tried to guza everything that will talk in this show. So it's a show you don't want to miss. But equally to other news that we will also look at in terms of entertaining stories that are making headlines, we'll look at one, Jackie Maribe and Moses Kuria, and what that means to have those two in the same sentence. Of course, we know that Joy was sentenced to death the other day, and Maribe last month was acquitted of all her charges, the charges that were brought against her in as far as the death of Monica Kemani was concerned. But Jackie Maribe is already making news headlines. There's equally a news reporter who has been threatened. I'll be telling you about that. So that's a juicy story you don't want to miss, that I'll be telling you in a short while. So you just don't want to miss this show. Moses Kuria ameanza kufanya ile mambo, so kunayo vitu kali kwa hii show. You don't want to truly miss anything. So let's begin with this particular show. From this angle, let me slightly take you back before what was to happen today. Now, before today, there was a hurdle that Raila Odinga ought to have overcome, and that was if he was to be the AUC chairperson, he would have either been a deputy chairperson, because they were proposing to have a woman be the chair, and or rather a female candidate be the chair, and then a man be the deputy. Now, unfortunately, that was also going to be a tricky situation for Raila Odinga, given that if the chairperson was to come from East Africa, the deputy was to come from a different region. So if that issue was to sail through, that would have automatically knocked out Raila Odinga. But hold and behold for him today, that decision was made, and it's no longer about a woman. Now it's free for everyone, or rather the candidate that East Africa will provide, that is the candidate that will sail through. So let's first listen to this short clip, and then I'll come back to explain now after this what truly transpired. Let's go back a few days ago, just before today, on what were the conditions on, or rather how we ended up having today's meeting in Addis Ababa concerning AU, and how this would have affected Raila's chances of being an AUC chairperson. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, even as I come back with quite some plenty more. All right.
Thanks, Ochanda, for that. Moving on, the proposal to have the Africa Union Commission chairperson post reserved for women candidates in the February 2025 polls is the latest headache for the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader in his quest to succeed the outgoing chair, Musa Faki. The proposal, which may be defeated if Kenya votes against it, will be considered by the AU Executive Council this week in Addis Ababa and is seen as one of the hurdles, although surmountable, that the former Prime Minister has to go past. And as KTN's political affairs reporter Emmanuel Tor now explains, regional geopolitics, including language, may also play a role in Odinga's quest to assume the AUC chair position.
The proposal circulated to African Union member states last week, which proposes the rotation of the AU Commission chairperson and deputy chairperson position according to gender, may be the latest hurdle put in the way of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga's road to the AU Commission. The draft report prepared by the AU legal team on preparations for the election of senior leadership of the African Union Commission for the year 2025 states, quote, it has been concluded that the next chairperson of the commission should be a female, while the next deputy chairperson should be a male. The proposal, which will be tabled on the 15th of March this month, will however require the nod of the AU Executive Council with a unanimous decision to adopt the recommendation. Prime Cabinet Secretary and CS for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Musalia Mudavadi is expected to travel to Addis Ababa to have that determination.
It is very clear that it only takes one country to veto them. And now that Kenya has opted to support Raila Odinga, they will easily be vetoed unless Kenya reverses its support for Raila Odinga. And even if they were to do that, probably another country would come to his rescue.
So the only issue, the biggest hurdle for Raila Odinga is to convince people like former President Kikwete of Tanzania not to run. It's to convince Somalia not to give a candidate.
Although he may get past that hurdle, Odinga must however come face to face with the continental geopolitics, pitting regional blocs and communities against each other. Currently, the East African Community, which is a favorite for the post, has 8 members, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, with 15, the Southern African Development Community, SADC, with 16, and the North African Community with 7 members. Apart from the regional blocs, the former Prime Minister must also contend with about 26 Francophone countries, which may decide to back one of their own for the seat. The Francophone countries, which include others who speak both English and French, form a major alliance that could pose a threat to Odinga's bid.
Because you know that a candidate to be successful must get two-thirds physically. First round or second round. If you don't get 2/3, then you're not elected. So I have to dialogue with virtually all leadership of the continent.
You see, there's the problem of Anglophones and the Francophones. That could be a problem. If they read according to that script, that is one problem that Amina Mohammed went through.
He needs to work on North Africa, he needs to work on West Africa, especially the Francophone part, and he needs to get the big brother of Southern Africa, South Africa itself, to say, you know what, let's support Raila Odinga.
Out of the 5 AU Commission chairpersons since 2002, only Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma from South Africa is from an English-speaking country. The rest from Mali, Gabon, and Chad are French speakers. Some have, however, seen the language representation as an added advantage for Odinga, who comes from an Anglophone country that has only had one of its representatives in the AUC. The opposition chief will also prepare for the panel of eminent persons who will vet candidates for the job and draw up a shortlist. The candidates will sit a written and oral assessment that will, among other things, reduce the list of contenders.
How do you choose these questions? How do you load them? You know, you have to ask the question, who decided on having a computer-based?
To other stories making headlines, members
Ladies and gentlemen, that is what was the headache for one Raila Odinga if he was to overcome to be the chairperson. As you have heard, there was that challenge for having a female chairperson, but now that is a hurdle that one Raila Odinga has overcome. How has he overcome? Today, there was a meeting and a deliberation was made, and that deliberation was one that the status quo remained. The status quo meaning that a man can equally go for the seat and equally be the person that becomes the chairperson. All right, that issue of whether female or male, that one has been removed. In fact, by as early as yesterday, that it was obvious, because we only needed one country to oppose, and of course Kenya was among the countries that would oppose, because it has to have its own son go for that seat. And since the grass is so green, or the coffee is ripe to have East Africa chairperson, or rather everything was conducive to have Raila or a person from East Africa win the seat. So it was almost obvious for them not to, gamble with saying that let us go for that gender card. So they allowed it to happen. So let's listen into after that, what happened after today's meeting. What happened? Listen in.
All right, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Africa Union Commission chairperson position after the Permanent Representatives Committee of the AU struck out the proposal to rotate the chair and deputy chair positions according to gender. The proposal would have locked out the former Prime Minister from the 2025 race. Already, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, who is also the CS for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Musalia Mudavadi, is in Addis Ababa ahead of the crucial meeting tomorrow. KTN's political affairs reporter Emmanuel To with more on this.
The high-level Executive Council meeting, which is expected to be a make-or-break moment for the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga's bid, will start at exactly 10 a.m. The Executive Council, comprised of ministers for foreign affairs from the AU member states, is expected to make a decision that will ostensibly clear any hurdles for Odinga.
How are you? Yes. At least I've said hello to some.
The Prime Cabinet Secretary, who is also in charge of the Foreign and Diaspora Affairs portfolio, Musalia Mudavadi, will represent Kenya in the meeting. The Prime CS is already in Addis Ababa, and on Thursday he held a meeting with Kenya's ambassador to Ethiopia. The 22nd extraordinary session of the Executive Council will consider the draft report on the preparation for the election of senior leadership of the African Union Commission in February 2025. Sources in the meeting intimated to KTN News that the Permanent Representatives Committee, PRC, agreed to shelve the gender proposal, which had recommended that only female candidates should be cleared for the chairperson and deputy chairperson role. Any PRC decision must also be ratified by the Executive Council on Friday. Another key win for the former Prime Minister is a proposal to have the chairperson position reserved for an East African state. The Northern Africa region is understandably set to nominate candidates for deputy chairperson, with the other regions filling the 6 commissioner posts. If adopted, the proposals will narrow down the race within the East African region, amid assurances by President William Ruto that the region is solidly behind Raila.
We have consulted as heads of state from the East African community together, and we have agreed to sponsor one candidate as East Africans.
Odinga, who has been to Rwanda and Uganda, seems to have received the nod of the East African region, but he has to deal with a threat from Somalia's former Foreign Affairs Minister, Fawzia Yusuf Adam, who also hails from the Eastern Africa. Odinga has also been to Namibia, where he met several presidents from South Africa and DRC, among other states, in his quest to succeed Musa Faki as the next chairperson.
The successful must get two-thirds physically, first round or second round. If you don't get two-thirds, then you're not elected. So I have to dialogue with virtually all leadership of the continent.
And as the African Union Executive Council meets tomorrow, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga will now be waiting with bated breath to know his next course of action and the decision that will be a make or break moment for the 2025 elections.
So that decision was made today, and it's now clear, it's now obvious. Now, this is what the President, William Ruto, said, that East Africa has agreed to nominate or even to propose or to push the agenda of Raila Odinga. So it's obvious. It's now obvious. If you still had doubt, I urge you, my dear colleague and friend and brother, sister, that your doubt really should be swept back, because it's happening. Raila Odinga will be the African Union chairperson. Now, listen to this. A few days ago, Raila Odinga had gone to Rwanda to ask for one Paul Kagame to endorse his candidacy. And listen to what the president for Rwanda had to say.
Former Prime Minister come to see you, asking for your vote, I hope, for the AUC chair.
Yes, he did that. Raila Odinga was here the other day, and the delegation were telling me the intention to stand for the African Union Commission chair. I respect Raila Odinga. I know his struggles. And he was actually one time, this was around the same time I was the African Union chair in 2018. He has been representing the commission and on the infrastructure for the continent. He did a good job of that. He has full grasp of it. So I, in the end, it's no secret, I told him Rwanda will support him. We will give him our support. And wish him well. And when he's there, not only support to be there, but even when he's there, we'll give him support.
So that is one Paul Kagame of Rwanda. Just a few weeks ago, Raila Odinga, while in Kisii, he said that one Suluhu, the president for Mama Suluhu, that is Samia Suluhu of Tanzania, has equally endorsed him. One Salva Kiir, I think, endorsed. One president for Uganda, Yoweri Museveni, whom of which you remember seeing the photos between him, the president of Uganda, the president of Kenya, and of course William Ruto, and one Raila together in one photo, and it caused a storm in the social media, and that was the beginning of the story that probably Raila Odinga from now henceforth might be working with William Ruto. He equally in Kisii, he said that he would be headed to Rwanda to ask one President Paul Kagame to endorse his candidacy. And from what you have heard, ladies and gentlemen, the president of Rwanda agreed and even said that he will endorse him and equally vote for him. So all the presidents from East Africa have given it a nod. So what do you expect? It will definitely happen. It will definitely happen. And to what happened today, of course, this will be in Swahili for you. I didn't manage to get the English version, but in Swahili, this is what now has happened today. It's now all things clear. All systems go. It's clear for Raila Odinga. There's no more hurdles. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, this is happening. Let's listen into these two Swahili clips, and then I'll be coming back to discuss what is happening.
Ridicule.
Na Afrika Mashariki ina sababu ya kusherehekea baada ya mkutano wa viongozi wakuu kwenye muungano wa mataifa barani Afrika AU kuidhinisha kuwa Afrika Mashariki itawasilisha wagombeaji wa kiti cha mwenyekiti kwenye uchaguzi wa mwaka ujao. Kulingana na barua kwa vyombo vya habari kutoka kwa afisi ya waziri mwandamizi Musalia Mudavadi ambayo yuko nchini Addis Ababa kwa mkutano wa AU, sasa hakuna kizuizi chochote kwenye azma ya kinara wa Azimio Raila Odinga, na Kenya ina kila haki ya kuwasilisha jina lake kama mgombeaji wa wenyekiti wa AU mwaka 2025 mwezi Februari. Hata hivyo itasubiriwa hadi mwezi Mei kujua atamenyana na nani kwenye debe hilo.
There was unanimous acceptance and adoption of the recommendations of the PRC. This was critical because it affirmed the position that had been taken earlier by the Assembly of Heads of State, that in order to bring more equity and diversity within the African Union.
Among the key elements of the draft decision was the question of the eligibility of the various regions to submit candidates for various positions. The East African region was recommended to provide candidates for the position of the chairperson. The Northern Africa region will submit candidates for the position of the deputy chairperson, while the other three regions, that is the Central, the Southern, and the...
All right, so you heard it, ladies and gentlemen, that the East Africa has been proposed and or recommended to give the chairperson, the North Africa to give the deputy chairperson. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? Your guess is as good as mine. This is almost a concluded matter. Now, let's listen into how Citizen placed this information.
Azimio Raila Odinga sasa na nafasi ya kuwania kiti cha mwenyekiti wa tume ya Umoja wa Afrika. Hii ni baada ya kamati ya wawakilishi wa Umoja wa Afrika kukataa pendekezo kuwa mwenyekiti atakayechaguliwa anapaswa kuwa mwanamke. Uamuzi huu ulitolewa katika mkutano maalum uliofanyika jijini Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, wa kujadili ripoti kuhusu maandalizi ya uchaguzi wa viongozi wakuu wa tume hiyo utakaofanyika Februari mwaka ujao. Mkuu wa mawaziri na waziri wa masuala ya kigeni Musalia Mudavadi amesema hii ni hatua muhimu kwa eneo la Afrika Mashariki kuwasilisha wagombeaji wa wadhifa wa mwenyekiti wa tume ya AU ambao Kenya imekuwa ikipigia debe.
Should really bar, and nothing bars the opportunity for Raila to become the candidate for the region and, God willing, the chair of the African Union Commission.
All right, to help me discuss all that and more is none other than Mr. G, and equally you, my fellow listener, you are equally invited to join us in studio. The links to join us in studio to discuss all that is on your comment section. Your link inapia na kitu inakaa hivi. What you see there, it will be yellow in color, but in your comment section, ukiona kitu inakaa hivyo, that's the link to help you join us in studio. You tap on that link, it opens another link to StreamYard. Now, ukiingia StreamYard unafanya vitu viwili ambavyo ni very important. Lazima uwashe kamera, alafu uwashe sauti. Ziko hapo. You must activate the two, and then equally you must do something else. Write a name, write a name for me to be able to know how to address you in the show. The name is for me, all right? So it doesn't really have to be so official. You can use your nickname, you can use a trending name, you can call yourself anything, but be comfortable that if I address you that way, you'll be okay with that name. Equally, ukishafanya hizo vitu viwili ambavyo ni important, unaguza enter, alafu unajikuta uko kwa show. So what have we looked at so far this far? We have looked at the hurdles that would have affected Raila Odinga in being AUC chairperson. We have looked at how he has overcome it already. We have looked at the proposals that have been brought by the meeting that happened today. Of course, that quest to have gender being an issue has already been overcome, in that Raila Odinga will not suffer from that. In any case, it's all system goes for him. The other thing that has been a boost is that they have agreed that the chairperson this time round should come from East Africa, given that other chairpersons have come from different places, and East Africa has never had that position. So it will be a first for East Africa. It will be the very first for East Africa, and that would be something very good, because these are the countries that have ever held that position. We have had someone like Alpha Conare from Mali, which is a French-speaking country, equally Jian Peng from Gabon, and Dalmini Zouama from South Africa. He's the only person from who is not from the west side of Africa who has been able to garner that seat. Of course, with the latest or rather the current sitting chairperson being Musa Faki from Chad. Of course, Musa Faki, this is his second term. Now, it is interesting that Musa Faki was vying against Kenya's own, you remember, I'm forgetting, Amina Mohammed, who equally wanted to vie, or rather who wanted that seat. Unfortunately, she only lost by only 3 votes in the second round. So she was almost there, but not there. So 3 votes were the difference between what she got and what Musa Faki got. So this time around, Raila Odinga has enough support, has enough people gunning for him. In any case, he's not anywhere close to to the former candidate from Kenya, that is Amina Mohammed. These two are two different individuals with very different and remarkable difference between the two of them. Raila Odinga has a very huge political influence here in Kenya and, of course, across the globe. So that equally will inform his candidacy. So what you're looking at your screen is what who has ever been a chairperson. So East Africa, this time wameambiwa it's their turn. This time wameambiwa it's their opportunity to go for that that position. So it will be interesting to see who the other side, if they don't choose to abide by this, who will be the candidate that they might choose to square it out with Raila Odinga. Of course,
and with about
this is how the continent is divided. We have the francophone and the anglophone continent countries, where the francophone were the ones that were ruled or colonized by, what do we call them, by the French. All right, we have the anglophone that were colonized either by Britain or they speak English. All right. So Raila Odinga has several advantages, but equally these countries, if they garner, they are more slightly more than so the francophone countries. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is what equally will inform the voting patterns, and equally we have the anglophones, ladies and gentlemen, that equally will form the voting pattern. So it is almost obvious that if he bags in the seat, definitely there'll be nothing that hinders him. Of course, what now I'm showing you is the East African bloc, the economic bloc in East Africa, the AUC. This has 8 countries. The Anglophone has, I think, 21 countries, but already Raila Odinga can be assured of the 8 countries. So it's almost obvious that it is going home. It is going home to one Raila Odinga. So I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm equally joined by Kisumu Sisi and some other guests are equally joining us. So what do you make of Raila Odinga heading to AUC? What do you make of it? And what is your feeling? How are you feeling about it? Are you excited about it? That's what we'll be talking about here in this fantastic show. Allow me to have now my guest, so that we can speak about this and talk about so much more, including the politics in the country and as well the economic part of this show. We will look at the health issue and the education issue. But first, let's begin with the first, or rather with the news making headlines, and that is Raila Odinga moved to AUC. Now, brother and my friend, Mr. G, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Karibu sana. Great to see you. Hope you are well. Now, Mr. Kane Kisumu CC, it's been a minute, but how are you, my brother? Kisumu CC, if you could have your mic on. All right, as he's working on his mic, I know we will have him just now. But what do you make of the news making headlines that now it's almost all systems go for one Raila Odinga? How are you feeling now? It's now obvious. There is no more hardship.
Yeah, exactly. It was obvious. You know, Baba is a man of all seasons, and is a man who is loved throughout the continent of Africa, not only in Africa, not only in Kenya, but throughout Africa continent. Baba is one man that is loved. Another thing is just a man that has been there. Although ako kwa your post, but he had a post infrastructure which allowed him to walk throughout all the African countries. So ni mtu ambaye anajulikana, he has network. Yeah, and looking at how things are, he may go even unopposed. Because sioni kama kuna mtu mwingine atakuwa. Remember, we have been given the chance for East Africa. That means that Northern Africa and Western Africa, South Africa, wao watakuwa napigia sisi ambao ni East Africa. That shows that maybe he may go just unopposed, kwa sababu sioni kama kuna somebody who can rise up from maybe Tanzania asema nataka kusimama, ama somebody rise up from Uganda nataka kusimama. I'm finding it so impossible, whereby I see it may. That is just our own analysis. Sijasema kwa itakuwa hivyo, but it may end up being that he may go even unopposed, because he's a man ambaye anajulikana all over with his network. And it's a good news also. It's also a good news to him, and also good news to us as ODM and Azimio. But all in all, we still have challenges in Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, of course, he's leaving Kenya, where we are seriously in need of someone to help us, or we are in serious of someone of Baba's status to help us navigate this trying government. But where? Tutasema nini? Wadau, asante sana kwa kujiunga nasi. Just one moment, allow me to appreciate the many joining us. We have a lot of people watching this particular show. If you're tuning in from wherever part of the world, karibu sana. This is Kenya News Link. Make sure you subscribe and as well like the video. Asante Gudia, I see you. Thank you for your sentiments. I see you. Karibu sana siku ya leo. Now, Kisumu CC, equally, I think now your mic is good. What are your opening remarks? What do you make of Baba going to AUC, and what does it even mean for you? Just unmute yourself, sir. Kisumu CC? All right. Now, before, okay, I had seen him, alikuwa amejaribu, I think he will still manage. Mr. G, the issue of Baba leaving is now obvious. There is nothing that hinders him. It is a clear path that, as you say, probably he might lack an opposer. Okay? So, in other words, what should East Africa and Kenya anticipate with his moving out? Should we expect goodies? Because he won't just represent Kenya, he will represent the region. And as Kagame has said, they will expect a lot from him.
Yeah, exactly. When Baba clinches the seat, we have a lot of things that we are expecting from him. Many. And remember, East Africa, more so Kenya. Kenya is the gateway of East Africa, whereby all this country, the country that our neighbors and some of other neighbors here, they depend on us. Like for us, we are blessed with port, and is Port of Mombasa, which is the biggest, I think, in East Africa. Even though tunaambiwa kuwa Tanzania wako na port kubwa, but infrastructure and everything, we are finding ourselves that we are the best in everything. So we are the gateway of East Africa. Yeah. So with such things, I think Baba will have a lot of, and we will need a lot of his help to connect us with those other countries, like in South Africa, like in Northern Africa, that Central Africa. There's a lot of things that I think Baba will have to help us. So we are really expecting a lot of things from Baba when he clinched that power. Yeah.
All right. We are anticipating a lot of things. What is the benefit of having him go away? Because we still are in dire need of him. And maybe we are made awarded, or rather rewarded, or even made him a president. But I think his contribution in Kenyan politics is unmatched. We don't have anyone that can take his position at the moment as it is. But him going, what do you think will be the benefit of him going to Kenya now, for example?
Okay. Apart from infrastructure and those other things that we're expecting from other countries, outside the countries, Baba was a man that, he's a man of all seasons, and he's a man that had a lot of impact to our politics as Kenyans. But we also have some people who really depended. We have people who really depended on Baba. Even though walikuwa wako stable, they can talk, they are eloquent, wako charisma, but still they could depend on Baba kuwashikilia mkono, so that they can clinch even their seats ambao walipata. So for Baba leaving our country, I'm talking now about Kenya, not this issue of AU and those other benefits. No, I'm talking about exactly Kenya and why and what he's leaving behind. I think to us as Kenyans, as much as it may be a good move for him to get that AU seat, but in Kenya, we ambao ni hustlers, we people who needed somebody who can fight for us, somebody who can, and I think you understand what I'm saying when I'm talking about fighting for us. Baba was one man that we believed in him. Baba was one man that we trusted in him, because he's somebody who could challenge the government. At any case, wakati government imekosa barabara, he could stand up and defend mwananchi wa chini. And also, the moment amekuwa akifanya hivyo, the moment amekuwa akifanya hivyo with all these other maandamanos and everything, tumeona things change. Things has been changed. Vitu ambazo zilikuwa tuna expect kwa zifanyika, tumeona zikifanyika. So he was of great importance in our life. So moving out, it may be much of our disappointment at sometimes, kwa sababu tuoni kama kuna another person who can fit into his shoe to do what he used to do, even though at the moment let down, leaving us at the point that we needed him more. Ametuacha at the point that we needed him more.
So ametuacha at a point where we needed him more. Of course, we'll be talking about what are the challenges we are now facing, and what can be done, and what would Raila do. All right. Now, I want us to listen to one man who is working very hard to see that seat comes home, and that is none other than the Prime Cabinet Secretary, and who is also the CS for Foreign Affairs, one Musalia Mudavadi, who had interesting sentiments to give, and equally who brought to light how today was successful. I want us to listen to him quickly, and then we'll come back with Mr. G, because we really want to go to the heart of all this and really show you, ladies and gentlemen, that this is almost a sealed thing, that it's finally, or probably, it's coming home, as Mr. G is slightly saying, that could be to even come home unopposed. Let's listen into this, and we'll be back in just a short while. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen.
Session of the Executive Council, and it was called by the Assembly of Heads of State. Last time we were here at the February summit, and it became very critical because the issue of the future of the African Union was at stake in the context of the forthcoming elections of the African Union Commission leadership in February next year. When we were here for the summit, the Heads of State Summit, there were legal and technical issues that required urgent clarification, so that the process of transiting from the leadership of the African Union Commission today to the next leadership through the proper electoral process can be done smoothly. So this session was very important. And that is why we came, and we were now receiving the report from the PRC with specific asks for decision making. This was a very important session, and I'm happy to report that there was unanimous acceptance and adoption of the recommendations of the PRC. This was critical because it affirmed the position that had been taken earlier by the Assembly of Heads of State, that in order to bring more equity and diversity within the African Union, the rotational principle becomes very, very important. And therefore the decision that was taken was that in accordance with the alphabetical order, the East African region will now have the opportunity to offer its candidate for the chair of the African Union Commission. And the Northern region shall have the opportunity to offer its candidate for the deputy chair. This is very significant, and the other regions shall now have an opportunity to offer leadership for the other 6 commission positions. The decisions were unanimous, yes, which was a very, very significant step away from where we started. You know, we had started with a fairly broad division last time we were here, but the conversations by the PRC and by the Executive Council of Ministers has brought us much closer together. And I can say that it was literally 100% decision, but unanimous is good enough. Well, I think the way we proceed from here is that, first of all, as Kenya and as a member of the East African region in that context, we actually want to appreciate and thank our brothers and sisters in the African continent for making it clear, removing all ambiguities, that it is the turn of East Africa to provide leadership or to offer leadership in the African Union. So that is a very important statement. And equally for the deputy in the northern region. What it means for us in the East African region is that effectively all technical and legal hurdles have now been removed, and Kenya can now formally submit the candidate for the region. Really, I don't have to mince my words anymore. Nothing should really bar, and nothing bars the opportunity for Raila to become the candidate for the region, and God willing, the chair of the African Union Commission. First of all, Raila is a very experienced public officer. Raila has been Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya. Raila has got strong Pan-African credentials. Raila has seen both hot and cold, if I may use such terminology. And he has shown the capacity to bring people together and to reconcile, even under difficult circumstances. And looking at the kind of challenges we are facing on the African continent, issues around conflict, food insecurity, the need to foster greater integration and enhance economic activity along in the African continent, we see him, in him, an opportunity for the African Union and Africa as a whole to be able to work to advance our objectives much more as we go forward. The roadmap from here to February is, it's going to be very busy, let me put it that way. First of all, there's the formal process where all the paperwork is submitted. And then we shall not waste any more time. We will want to work within the region, lobby all the countries in the region, and then extend our unified position to the rest of the African continent. And this is going to be really presenting the credentials of our candidate and what Kenya can also offer through the candidate. And as you know, we have also seen a very robust engagement from the President of Kenya, President William Ruto, on issues around climate change, on issues of reforming the international financial architecture, on issues of consolidating and improving Africa's footprint in the global space. So we see this as an opportunity where the synergy can be consolidated. And indeed, the African heads, when they were here in February, also nominated President William Ruto to take up Kagame's mantle in furthering the reform process within the African Union. So we believe there's a strong synergy, and we are offering Africa a very credible candidate. One of the things is that we will need to be very coherent. And I think before I maybe conclude my remarks, it is important that I acknowledge the role played by the ambassador here, Orina, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs team, that all worked to make sure that we have arrived where we are. These men and women, both here in Addis and in Nairobi, have been actually burning the midnight oil to make sure that we have logical, well-reasoned arguments anchored in law on the challenges that we believe have been now resolved by the Executive Council of the Ministers. So as we go forward, that unity of purpose, that teamwork, and also bearing in mind that we'll need to work with our brothers and sisters in the other countries as well, will be absolutely essential going forward.
Well, that was a mouthful, but I'll try to summarize what he has said. He has really said a lot, and one of the things he has said that it's now clear they have removed all ambiguity that would have caused any challenge. It's now clear that it's time for East Africa, and of course it's time for Kenya, and more importantly it's time for Raila Odinga. Of course the deputy will be coming from the north side of Africa, and of course they were working very hard on the technical handles, the technical legal handles that would have caused challenges for Raila Odinga. So that one has been removed. And of course, one Salem David is saying that Kenya is submitting or is giving to Africa a very formidable candidate, and he equally boasts of saying that nothing now bars Raila Odinga from being the candidate and of course eventually being the chair of AUC. Now, with all those remarks, it's almost now we should be confident, but at times let's not put all our trust or all our eggs in one basket. We should also have that kind of opportunity of saying, what if the other candidate is even equally better, or even he wins? Because as we know, it doesn't always go our way. Raila is always so close yet so far away, in as far as then many times he has tried to be a president here in Kenya. Of course, he has equally gone ahead to give what next from now to around February. He has said it will be a very busy and an interesting time going forward. Of course, from now henceforth, ni mambo na paperwork, submission of paperwork, lobbying other countries to support East African bid. Of course, he equally said what Raila Odinga will be doing. Of course, giving as well what William Ruto has done, because he is equally someone who has already gotten a position, having replaced Kagame in championing African issues. Okay, so look at this, Bwana Mr. G. Already Uhuru is with AU. Ruto is with the AU and now add Raila. What do you think it would mean for Kenya, having the three of our best outside there?
No, it is advantageous. It is
Mm-hmm.
advantageous on our side having those three men, because they are big men who are so competent. Although I don't really trust Ruto, but the other two, at least I can trust them. Yeah, but going by your word, going by your word, you talked about trusting friends, and I think it is in
Yeah.
the book of 48 laws of power. The second, the second verse. Is it the second verse or the second? I think it's the second. Yeah, the second rule that talks about never put too much trust in your friends. I think I can connect that with what you have spoken. In this situation that we are in right now, we have some speculation, and I think I've seen some videos. Hata pia kuna another guy, I don't know from which county, but there's another guy ambaye ame bet, I think it's 10 million to Raila. If Raila will clinch that power, he will give him 10 million. You know the guy? There are some allegations. There's a guy in Kenya, I think.
Yeah, I saw that footage, but it is interesting. Kwani he doubts.
Yeah.
But anyway,
doubts. You know where the doubt is. That's why I wanted to talk about doubts. The doubt is, I think he doesn't know that every route carry mesha connect kwa baba, because we are being told that this time round, yeah, that is the second law. He says never put too much trust in a friends. Learn to use. So I wanted to use the first peke yake, kama inasema never put too much trust in friends. Ya pili wachana kwanza nayo. Okay, so let me talk about why
let's go on. All right.
He's using his enemies, which is right, but sometimes fear, you have to be very conscious when your enemies are really God's blessing, praising you and fighting for you to get something. You really need to think twice. Why are your enemies doing such things? But even though it is also beneficial to him, but I wanted to talk about the allegation, which has put some question marks to people. That's why unapata jamaa wa Kenya mwenyewe ana offer 10 million if Baba clinches the power, and yet Baba tayari ni kama ameshapewa. Every day, the things that we call ambiguities. Yeah, those things that we meita ambiguity. Ambiguities, that is shatolewa, you see. So the problem is, yeah, hiyo ndio umesema ambiguity. Okay. Hapo kuna some narrative ambayo ilikuwa kuwa I think in Western Africa, most of those countries are colonized by France. Alafu wakati Ruto came to power, amekuwa more against the France so much. Amekuwa against even the things ambazo zimekuwa zikihappen, kama unaona kulikuwa na some coups ambazo zimehappen kule Western Africa, na Ruto amejitokeza sana akiwa against such things. Sasa most of those countries, the president and those leaders ambao pale, kumekuwa ni kama they are not really for Ruto, you see. Wanaona ni kama they are really against anything that Ruto is pushing. Sasa hapo ndo kumekuwa na some narrative kuwa maybe those people may not vote for Baba kwa sababu ya Ruto, but I don't think kama that is really true. But it somehow inaweza kuwa make sense, but now because the ambiguities imetolewa, the seat inaleta kwa East Africa, I don't think kama that can make sense. Yeah, I don't think kama even that can make sense, because now the seat comes for East Africa, the deputy from North, kumaanisha watu wa South Africa and those from West will have to vote for Baba, and that's why I say that this thing may go even unopposed. Yeah, but allegation ni kuwa the way Ruto alikuwa anaongea and the way he has been behaving, na those countries ambazo zimekuwa colonized with those other white support, na tunaona vile Ruto alikuwa anafanya, people wamefikiria kuwa those guys they may vote against Ruto just to punish Ruto. But remember, even on this the same issue, I think ni the president of Uganda ambaye anaenda kupeleka jina ya Baba kule. So I think all advantage and everything just lies to Baba. We see Baba is the only man who is going to take the seat. Sioni kama kuna kitu tamzuia tena.
All right. So finally, do you think this is the answered prayer that probably we would say finally Raila Odinga has vied for something in a long while, and he definitely now will clinch that seat? Can we now finally say so?
But no, we cannot say finally, but Mr. Jackson have been in the country, you know that Baba has been doing these things and ananyang'anywa, even though utasema kwa yeah, I know. I know that is what you say, but let us just wait first. What we know that the prayers will be answered. Yeah, and this even to me, yeah, finally, but even to me, I think when he clinches that power, I think I will see, and okay, not even about seeing, but I'll feel happy, kwa sababu it will be something that itakimevunja that curse. There's a better name, I will find that name. Kuna name ambayo nimesahau tu ambayo inaongea kuhusu somebody who has tried something for many years, for many times, alafu kapati, alafu at the end of the day anapata that thing. So there's a best name ambayo inatumika, lakini nimepoteza hiyo jina kwa akili yangu. So baba akipata hiyo kiti, I think itakimevunja hiyo laana. Ni kama laana. Ya hiyo ya mtu kujaribu unajaribu
I remember that. All right. Now when that happens, I'm sure it will be a good day both for Kenya, East Africa, and of course Africa at large, because the words from Musalia Mudavadi is that Kenya is presenting to Africa a formidable candidate who will be outstanding and will give to Africa the very best, given that he is a man who has gone out of his way to give the best in Kenya. So then nothing hinders him from being absolutely outstanding in his role as the African Union chairperson and all. Now, there are things that he has said that are equally interesting. He has talked about paper submissions. One Robert Alai, I think not Robert Alai, one Miguna had raised the issues of papers, and we have discussed that in this show. Baba has already overcome the hurdle for gender. The next hurdle is paper submission. From where you sit, will he overcome that one? Not that we know about his papers, we're just talking about them. What do you think?
No, to me, I believe Baba will, because he is really overconfident and overqualified for that seat.
Okay.
You know, this issue of propaganda, you know, there's something. I think I can say.
No, I just told you who brought the issue of papers.
That's why I want to tackle that thing. I'm not tackling on your point, but on the point of view of that guy, ambaye is Miguna. You know, we have people who have just hate for Baba. These are people who are and they are confused, that drive by hate and confusion, and other confusion, I think, is a better word to use to such people. Kwa sababu if somebody can stand up alafu asema Baba doesn't have papers, huyu mtu atakuwa ni kama akili yake haifanyi. Let us go back to what happened before election, before 2022. Before 2022, it is this Ruto. Yeah, before 2022, it is this Ruto who went up on his car, akatuambia hata sisi mtu wetu. He called him our candidate. He doesn't have any papers. He the same Ruto, sijui kama unakumbuka, akiwa juu ya gari yake akatuambia this guy hata hana karatasi ana nini, and he's the same guy ambaye he knows that to clinch that power you must have a master's degrees. You see, you must have a master's degree. The same person ambaye tuambia our candidate hana papers is the same person ambaye ana campaign for him akituambia kuwa he qualifies for that seat. So you know, there's a lot of propaganda with hate kwa watu ambao roho zao ni za wachawi. Unajua mtu kama Miguna roho yake ni kama ya mchawi. So we cannot no, you know, anyone who has bitter ni sawa na mchawi. Yeah. So listening to how Miguna who wanna attack Baba, I will just connect him with somebody who is a witch doctor, and a witchcraft.
All right. So unasema probably this is the time that Nooks ya kutowai win in Kenya, because the last time I'll win a position, I think it was in 2007.
In a position of presidency,
an elective position. No, an elective position, because he has not won a presidency. The last time he won any elective seat was in 2007 as the MP for Kibra.
No, 2007 he was the prime minister.
No, one was buying as a. Where in 2007 we still had just one moment. In 2007, we still had the old constitution where a president would still be an MP, like how Kibaki was the MP of Udai, I think. Raila was the MP of Kibera and still vying for a president. Am I correct? Because 2010 is when we changed the constitution.
No, by that time he never vied for MP seat. It was just for presidency
No,
alone.
I'm asking you, in 2007, was Baba an MP?
2007, before election, okay?
No, even during that election, because
after
the
election,
constitution
after
was
election,
changed.
he was not an MP. After election, he was straight given that chance of being the prime minister. 2007.
Did we have a by-election? Did we have a by-election for Kibra after he became the prime minister?
No, there was no by-election.
We need to get that right. I must get that right.
Oh,
Who was the MP?
Sorry.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah, let me Google that. Who was the MP for Kibra? I think it was Raila Odinga. Still memerudi kwenyu?
Bado
all right. Wanasema Kibra constituency, right. It was still Kibra, right? In 2000, who was, okay, let me see if I get correctly who was the MP. Let me Google it this way.
No, there's a guy, remember Jex, there's a guy ambaye alikufa cancer. There's a guy ambaye alikufa cancer.
Mwenye alikufa cancer si aliingia 2013 ama? Ken Okoth aliingia 2013.
Okay, what I know that
Raila Odinga was an MP for Langata between the year 1992 to March 2013, sorry. Yes, he was the MP. According to what they're saying, I don't know how true that. I think so. Yes, he was the MP because during that election year 2007, 2007, we still had the old constitution, if I'm not wrong. All right, we were having but our viewers can help us. We were having the old constitution. All right, so the old constitution, one was vying both as a president and as an MP, where one Mwai Kibaki was the area MP of Othaya. All right, and one Raila Odinga was the area MP of Langata, which now I think may change. Normally divided into Kibra and Langata somewhere, something of the sort. But are you there with me, Mr. G?
Yeah, I'm still there, but we have no power.
Oh.
Okay.
Nakucheka juu na nchekelea kwetu kipotea. So in 2013 he was still the MP. Aliondokea hiyo kiti in 2013 after the promulgation of the 2010 constitution. So he was the MP. So the last time, if I'm now going back to what we were looking for, the last time he ever won any elective post was in 2007. Am I correct now?
Okay.
So it has been quite a long time since he has been elected for something. He has really stayed outside the cold for quite some time. So this is the first time in a long time that we will be electing him to go for AUC position. Okay, are we up to that point now? Tumeelewana? All right, asante sana. Namuona Sabrina Ayana ako ndani. Achana na topic. Sabrina anavamia topic, anasema years of experience can substitute for the masters. Interesting. Namuona pia Gudi anasema Miguna used to be Raila's and Uhuru's bestie. Okay, but something went pear-shaped. Something went pear-shaped in between. All right, in Africa you don't need papers, all you need is a bridge behind you. Interesting. So before we even jump to the next, maybe I want to play these 2 videos to explain what papers are needed, because basically those are what Salem Davadi is saying that will be required, because we need to find out, because they said all the ambiguities that were there have now been overcome. The next stage now is submission of papers. What are the papers required? Let's listen in to Latif as he explained it to us.
Interested for the position of AU Commission Chairperson and Deputy Chairperson to start sending their applications. Among the academic requirements is a PhD or a master's degree in either law, international relations, economics, or political science. And as our senior political affairs reporter Chris Dairo tells us, the academic requirements seem to have opened a debate on the credentials of Azimio leader Raila Odinga, who's eyeing this top position.
The election of the next chairperson and the deputy chair of the African Union Commission is exactly 1 year away, but lobbying through shuttle diplomacy in all the 54 member states has already started in earnest. The African Union Commission has, through its website, posted a vacancy for the position of chairperson and the vice chairperson, as well as the academic requirements for those interested in the position. For one to qualify, he or she must possess at least a master's degree in law, international relations, economics, diplomacy management, business administration, political science, and social sciences, or a PhD in law, political science, international relations, or business management. When it comes to experience, one should have not less than 20 years of relevant professional international experience, at least 10 years having served in progressive senior leadership roles. Back home, Kenya, through the Kenya Kwanza administration, has already agreed to front Azimio leader Raila Odinga for the top job in the continent. However, this has also opened debate on the education qualifications of the Azimio leader. In the run-up to the 2022 general election, President William Ruto questioned the academic credentials of Raila Odinga.
Kama kuna mtu ambaye hajulikani makaratasi yake, ni ule candidate wa president wa Azimio. Makaratasi yake haijulikani imetoka kwa university gani. Huyo candidate wenu wa Azimio ni mtu ambaye hana classmate hata moja. Ni mtu ambaye hakuna mtu anasema alikuwa lecturer yake. Ni mtu ambaye hajulikani alisomea university gani.
But Azimio leader Raila Odinga is already on record that he proceeded to Germany after receiving a scholarship in 1965 to study at the Technical College of Magdeburg, now part of the Eindhoven University, and graduated.
Akatukwambia anaitwa Mumbi Ngaru. Nikafanya utafiti nikapata huyo Ngaru ambaye ni bwana yake ni jamaa tulisoma naye Ujerumani. Injinia Ngaru ndio yuko pale. Tulisoma naye huko Ujerumani. Kaka yake mkubwa Mburu Miano ndiye alinikaribisha nikiwa mtoto mdogo huko Ujerumani. Yeye vile vile alisoma uhandisi.
Another hurdle is a political move that a section of Mount Kenya leaders are trying to push, that instead of Raila, the president should have considered nominating retired President Uhuru Kenyatta for the job.
Nimesikia kuna hii chairman wa AU. Na nasikia labda nchi sijui inapigia debe aliyekuwa anawania kiti cha urais Raila Odinga. Mimi nikafikiria maneno jana nikaona yani mnataka tupatie huyu na Uhuru wetu wako hapa.
But majority of the Kenya Kwanza leadership seems to have settled on Raila.
The former Prime Minister Raila Odinga in his rightful place as a Kenyan. If he has offered himself for an international job, the people of Kenya are obligated to support Raila Odinga as a Kenyan. He's not going to the AU as leader of ODM.
The Azimio leader, who is currently in Germany, is expected to tour various African countries to lobby for the lucrative position, whose budget is $600 million per annum, with the help of President William Ruto. Chris Dairo, KTN News, Nairobi.
All right. So, Mr. G, the papers are interesting, but kuna pia mambo na previous experience. Of course, he has served, and I think we had this from Rwanda president, that he has served in AU as an infrastructure person, or rather as a leader in that docket. So already akona experience, or akona some things anaweza jitetea nazo, including papers. Kuna mtu alikuwa ananiambia, I think it was Mohamed Ige, that back then the equivalent of the diploma that Raila Odinga did, it's now equivalent to a master's if you convert it. I'm not sure, but I think that's what he was trying to explain, including that this is a person who was even a lecturer at the University of Nairobi, in the same. So could be that all these that we are saying are events that have already been superseded with time, given that at the IEBC has never had an issue with it. It's just politicians who always make a mountain out of a molehill, or the proverbial storm out of a teacup. But from where you sit, what do you make of it? Do you think Raila Odinga has everything that is required, given that what Musalia now is saying, that the next stage is submission of papers, which is equally another hurdle that if there is a challenge in that, Raila must make sure he equally overcomes it. What do you think?
Exactly. Baba is overqualified. And you know, Jex, there's something that Sabrina has the last point that Ameka Pale, I think you can highlight that thing. Yeah. On this issue of Faki, I'm not sure if Faki has a master degree on any papers, on his papers, yani. So I think Sabrina, I don't know if she or he is making a point. I'm not sure. Hiyo jina sijajua kama ni ya msichana ama ni ya kijana. But I think there's a point.
Sounds like a lady, but now let's just address her as how she is. Go ahead.
Yeah, I see some sense in what Amandika Pale, because I listened to something concerning Faki nikasikia kuwa he doesn't have the master's degree, but he's the chairman of AU. Yeah. So on the issue of qualification, Baba qualifies because he has everything that takes him to that place, and that's why there's no way angekuwa hana those papers alafu watu fight for him. Yeah, there's no way, because always on that seat you have to really research of everything that is needed for you to qualify for that seat, kwa sababu tu sema unaenda pale kwa sababu hata umekuwa pale kama one of them, ama maybe you have been a leader of a country for many years alafu unapewa no. To me, I believe he has what it takes to take that seat.
I think equally. I don't. Let me see if it is the footage that I equally wanted, that explains how Raila's documentations could signify his qualification. Let's listen in.
Let's talk about the AU top position. Now, is Raila Odinga qualified for the top position of African Union Commission chairman? Well, Raila's education has in the past been questioned even when he vied for presidency. His 4 days visit to Germany has brought out new information about his educational background. Raila has revealed that he attended schools and colleges while in Germany. As KTN's political affairs reporter Emmanuel Tor now details, President William Ruto is expected to unveil Raila's campaign team for the AUC position.
Immediately after he declared his candidature for the Africa Union Commission chairperson position, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga jetted out of the country to Germany, where he attended his tertiary education from the early 1960s to 1970s. The former Prime Minister has been busy on social media with updates from Berlin to Leipzig. On Tuesday, Odinga visited Herder Institute, his former college in Leipzig, Germany, which he said brought back memories of his high school days.
Straight away, the apologies of our leader, the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, he'll be trying to get back today from Germany.
The opposition leader also touched base at the Otto von Guericke University, Magdeburg, one of the youngest universities in Germany, founded in 1993. Odinga's visit raised several questions, with some clips targeting his academic qualifications resurfacing.
Kama kuna mtu ambaye hajulikani makaratasi yake ni ule candidate wa president wa Azimio. Makaratasi yake haijulikani imetoka kwa university gani. Huyo candidate wenu wa Azimio ni mtu ambaye hana classmate hata moja.
Nikafanya utafiti nikapata huyo Ngaru ambaye ni bwana yake ni jamaa tulisoma naye Ujerumani.
Raila has vied for president of this country severally. And to vie, you must submit your documents, including academic documents, and they must be verified. No one has ever doubted because they are all legitimate.
Odinga started his early schooling at Kisumu Union Primary, then proceeded to Maranda High School for secondary education. He, however, dropped out in 1962 and moved to East Germany, where he was admitted to the Herder Institution. In 1965, Odinga was awarded a scholarship at the technical school, Magdeburg, which is part of the faculty at the University of Leipzig in East Germany. In 1970, Odinga graduated with a Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Raila features among 100 notable alumni of the University of Leipzig, alongside former German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and is at position 41 in the prestigious list. Raila has taught at the Department of Mechanical Engineering at the University of Nairobi.
And I started teaching at this university at the tender age of 25. My department is just the one opposite here.
Some of the academic requirements for the Africa Union Commission include law, international relations, economics, diplomacy management, business administration, political science, and social sciences.
The requirements are only indicative. They are not determinative.
Okay.
And all those requirements are subject to change by what they call the role manager. So for me, the question of qualification does not arise at all.
Okay.
Raila is not qualified. He's overqualified.
His candidature for the AU job has, however, raised speculations on his possible retirement from local politics. However, the ODM party has come to the defense of Odinga's space in the local politics, saying the former Premier remains active and continues to be the party leader of the Orange Party. This comes as President William Ruto is expected to formally unveil Odinga's campaign team for the AUC job, with Prime CS and CS for Foreign Affairs Musalia Mudavadi, the PS for Foreign Affairs Korir Singh, and top diplomats expected to feature in the lobby team. Pictures seen on social media of a meeting between retired President Uhuru Kenyatta together with Tanzania President Samia Suluhu Hassan have raised questions on the agenda, with sources indicating that former President Uhuru Kenyatta and former President Jakaya Kikwete could also be interested in the AU position. Emmanuel Talk.
All right. Now, Mr. G, from what you have heard, including the explanation even from one Otiende Amolo, Otiende goes to the level of saying Baba is overqualified, or Raila Odinga is overqualified. And in 1970, I think we have seen that he had a master's degree in engineering. So he already has the documents needed. What do you make of it?
Exactly. And you know, Jex, that's why I told you, somebody like Miguna, there's a hate in for Raila. That's why wanapenda kuongea vitu ambavyo anaongea. When you listen to the media, huyo msichana vanakuwa na explain. Miguna anatuambia kuwa baba sijali wa check class 4, G class 5, hata kufika secondary. And yet we explain vizuri alienda mpaka Maranda. After Maranda ndo akaenda Germany. So you cannot believe somebody ambaye ako na hate towards somebody, towards baba. Yeah. The issue of comparing what Nani amesema, what Miguna amesema, we should not even talk about that, because Miguna anaongea because of hate to Raila, but not because of the facts that ambao ziko. Listen to what Otiende Amolo ameongea. Otiende Amolo ameongea facts concerning Raila. Na ukweli ni kuwa baba has been vying for this presidential candidate in Kenya for more than 5 years, 5 times, yeah. And in all those vying, hakuna siku ameiambiwa kwa karatasi zake hazifai. All those vying ambayo amefanya zote, pass through.
According to our constitution, those are requirements. And if there were an issue, I don't think IBC would have allowed him.
Yeah, kwa sababu look at what happened to the governor of Nairobi. Alituambia mara ako siji Nairobi University, mara siji alikuwa wapi, mara akakimbia because of alikuwa hana degree, akakimbia kana kuleta fake degree from Uganda, and that was also a concern. So baba angekuwa hana those documents, tungekuwa tumeona such things happen, lakini kwa baba hakuna kitu kama imetokezea. So on issue of qualification and paperwork, that one baba qualifies for the seat.
Now there's something good is equally saying. Good anasema hivi ya kwamba kunaweza kuwa na very strong candidate from the other side, that is North Africa, but I think that one Musalia has explained that is a hurdle that we have already overcome. If you can explain it to good, yeah. Yeah, so good. Yeah, this I think we have overcome. I think the person either a vie for the deputy.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Goodyear should know that. But in Eastern, we are giving the chairmanship. That's why we are saying even Baba may go unopposed on that issue, kwa sababu tayari shapewa for East Africa. Hakuna another region ambayo imepewa. This one is only for Eastern Africa.
oh. And maybe the only place,
Baba.
unless itoke from East Africa, someone else ajitokeze, right? Is that true?
No, hata mtu mwingine akijitokeza tayari washaketi wamedecide kwa this time round, because it's rotational. Remember, it is rotational. And this time round wamepatia East Africa. So hata mtu mwingine akijitokeza from other places haitakubalika because it is going to East Africa. Yeah.
All right. All right. Now, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. This is a conversation happening here at Kenya Newslink. We invite you to equally participate in sending in your comments and what you feel of what we are discussing. I see many participating. Akina Sabrina na Gudia, asanteni tu sana. Equally, you can join us through the link appearing now at the comment section. Hiyo ndio link inakutuma moja kwa moja hapa kwa studio. Ukitumia hiyo link, what do? You have to type in your name, a name that we can use for show. It can be initials just like Mr. G, but it can also equally be your real name just like Sajex, and then equally activate a camera that is on that app, activate your microphone, and equally type or rather click enter. You can join in using a phone, a laptop. I don't know if you can use a TV. I don't think so. I don't know. Anyway, but you can watch us live if you have a smart TV. But anyway, thank you so much for being part of this great conversation, ladies and gentlemen, happening here at Kenya Newslink. Now, as you can see from your screen, what we are looking at and what we are trying to answer is the next hurdle that Raila Odinga has to overcome, and that hurdle is the hurdle of paper submission. And paper submission equally requires his academic qualifications, mapepa za shule. Just like I think watu peana pepa kwa CV, or rather during a job interview, is the same thing. Now, the next stage that Raila Odinga needs to overcome is submission of his documents or his papers or his qualifications, and that will inform if he qualifies to be a AUC chair. Now, from what we have been able to gather from different sources is that he has some of the necessary documents required. Now, I don't know. I think we should be encouraged or be discouraged depending from where you look at it. There are those who feel so bad he's leaving. There are those who are happy he's leaving. There are those who are just there. Where are you? By the way, Mr. G, where are you? Are you happy he's going? Are you discouraged he's going? Or uko tu hapo?
No, in between everything, and all position works. You know, remember, as I told you when we started the show, I said that Baba is leaving us at the time that we really need him, at the time that we needed him much. Those are the words that I said. But remember also equally, I say that Baba going and taking that seat, it will be as there's a word ambao nilikuwa nataka kutumia, but that word bado sijaipata. That word that I say that you unapata mtu has been trying something for many times, and anaweza jaribu kitu even 100 times, but when he tries the 101 times he gets the post. So there's a word that is always used, that kuna kale ka breaking, kale ka cast breaking kwa hapo ambao katakuwa kamevunjika, and then he anapata seat. So it is equally benefit for Baba being on that seat. But when you go deeper to the politics of Kenyans, Baba being out of Kenyans politics, itakuwa na a lot of challenges. That is where the problem is. But another problem is that because of his enemies, right now they are his close friends, mtu kama Ruto. Just imagine how atajipiga kifua wakati Baba atakuwa amechukua, because look at how nani anakimbia running around the whole continent, Mr. Mudavadi akipigania Baba. So at the time of Baba kazi, those are things about to discourage at a point. But still, will we congratulate him because it is a post that will bring more benefit to our country also.
All right.
Yeah.
Then let's come to what you're saying, that he's leaving us at a point that we truly really need someone of his stature to speak about some issues affecting Kenyans. One of the issues affecting us at the moment is the doctors' strike. And the doctors have been on strike. This is the second day, I think. And equally, education, as according to what we are going to see just now, is on its crisis. What do you make of the doctor strike? I know we conversed about this yesterday, but today is day 2, and bado hakuna hopes. What do you make of this doctor strike? Kenyans are equally in a state that they need some hope. They need things to go right.
We really need help at this moment, because even we conversed about this thing, about this issue yesterday, and I say that as much as there is a problem with doctors, because many times doctors wamekuwa promised things, but the government has not been offering what they promised. Wamekuwa kidanganywa. So I say that they could sit to the government and then waelewane, as much as the government itakuwa hata kama haitakuwa able to provide that thing that they need at the moment, but warudi kazini, because the more wanna stay away from the job is the more our people dying. You know, the more they stay away is the more we are losing lives. So in their docket, their job is very critical in our country, and the more wanakaa nje sana, the more we are really affected, and more so we people ambao ni wananchi wa chini, the hustlers, not the rich, because those big boys au wanaenda kwa private hospital watatibiwa. Some of them they fly outside Kenya, wanaenda kutibiwa outside Kenya, on those countries, like some of them wanakimbia mpaka China, where the best doctors are. So in Kenya unapata the hustler ndo anaumia, because hustler depends on those government hospitals, the referrals of those hospitals. That is where most of these hustlers wanna depend. So as much as the doctors will not be available, most of them are being affected. That's why I said it is a critical issue, because as well, as much as doctors are human beings who need a conducive environment, they need to be paid their dues. They need also to be employed, because they do a lot of work. They need to, some of them they need to have help by employing those other doctors who are qualified. But unapata wakati wawezi ajiriwa, the more they cannot be given their dues, they cannot receive their salaries. You know, wakati mtu apati salary, hata kulipa nyumba inakuwa shida, paying school fees for his children inakuwa problem, just eating, finding just food to put on the table inakuwa shida. So it is a challenge, because when they strike, that is when the government wakes up to meet their needs. But was for strike again, the government inalala, iwezi kuwasaidia. So it is a very challenging situation that I don't know how we'll handle it, but I'm still praying that the government wanaweza kuamka kwa usingizi, waweze kusikiza watu, at least waelewane kiasi, jamaa warudi kazini mapema, because the more wanaendelea kukaa hivyo, the more watoto wanaumia sana.
Now let's listen into a footage from Lillian Muli concerning
doctors' strike entered its second day today, with the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union maintaining that it was still on and saying union officials were available for talks with the Ministry of Health to find a solution that will see normal operations in health facilities resume. The Employment and Labour Relations Courts in Nairobi on Friday morning extended orders suspending the doctors' strike to pave way for negotiations. Marianne Nyambura reports.
Solidarity forever.
The Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union, KMPDU, maintains that the nationwide doctors' strike is on, despite Employment and Labour Relations Court Judge Brian Ongaya's extension of orders stopping the doctors' strike. The union's officials, however, say they are ready to sit at the negotiation table with the relevant ministry.
We want to reinforce that we are available for discussions today. We are available for discussions tomorrow. We are available for discussions on Sunday and even on Monday. We have no holidays or no weekends, because we know that we offer essential services.
Judge Ongaya, in his ruling delivered virtually, ordered the head of public service, Felix Koskei, to involve the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC, Labour and Finance Cabinet Secretaries, all 47 county governments, and all national referral hospitals in striking a deal with doctors. The Kenyatta National Hospital had filed a petition in court seeking to bar its doctors from taking part in the strike. The matter will be mentioned on 20th March.
We call upon our members to comply with the strike notice that we had issued on 6th and the strike that commenced on 13th until we sit down with government in an agreement that we know will resolve these particular matters.
In Turkana County, officials from the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union took to the streets on the second day of the strike.
You find only one doctor covering one whole sub-county. And this doctor has to deal with the medical issues, the surgical issues, and all the emergencies. And in case there's a referral from one sub-county to the main hospital, LCRH, there's no proper referral system.
We will implore upon KMPDU to appoint their leadership who would come and negotiate with us in the county government.
At the Nakuru Teaching and Referral Hospital, normal operations resumed during the second day of the nationwide strike. The ongoing strike is aimed at compelling the government to post medical interns, remit payment for doctors taking postgraduate studies, and implement the 2017 collective bargaining agreement on salary increment. Miriam Nyambura, Citizen TV.
All right, that is the state of our health, ladies and gentlemen. And as if that is not enough, as if health is not enough, listen to what is the state of our education.
NAT is warning that school programs may soon grind to a halt owing to delayed disbursement of free primary education and free secondary education funds for this year. The union is demanding the immediate disbursement of capitation funds to avert a crisis in learning institutions. The demand by NAT officials comes at a time when several school heads have decried the funding crisis, which they say hampers smooth operations in the learning institutions. Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu has, in the meantime, given an assurance that the monies will be in school accounts within the next 2 weeks. Safina Chiengoma reports.
We shall never be divided. The Kenya National Union of Teachers has flagged the delayed disbursement of capitation from the government, which the union says is threatening to shut down activities at learning institutions across the country.
Heads are crying. Principals are crying. The situation is pathetic. I don't want to go into nitty-gritties of explaining pathetic. It is simply pathetic.
The government had committed to allocate 22,244 shillings annually per learner, which was to be disbursed in installments of 50% in the first term, 30% in the second term, and 20% in the third term. However, only half of the allocation for first term has been disbursed, less than a month to the closure of schools.
50% of 22,224 is 11,122. But so far, what we have received is 3,877.
Tuko na changamoto bado na tunaomba kwamba tuweze kupata hiyo capitation nyingine, the second tranche, ndio tuweze kuendelea kwa sababu madeni.
All right. And the stories keep on piling. First question. Are we doing well, or we are just managing ourselves with tunajifunga tu, we are massaging our problems with false hope? Because tunasema dola imeshuka, mafuta ndio inashuka, wanasema token, but I'm yet to see token kishuka. It's still high kidogo. How are we doing? Yeah. That is health for you, that is education for you. From where you see, are we doing well really?
We're not doing well, Jakes. Let me go back first to the health. You know, when this thing started, I think there was an allegation that Nani should step down, the CS should step down. But I think you were against that, Mr. Jakes. I remember when we had this discussion, I think you were against that CS stepping down. But to me, I think it is better if she does steps down, because remember, listening to what the guys have said, the people from the health section, wamesema they are available for discussion. They are available to talk to this government. So what is it that they are finding so hard just to call these people, they sit down on the table and discuss? Because you know, anaitwa Minjika anaitwa nani, the CS of health, this woman nasahau jina yake, Kumincha something, Nakumincha, yeah. I have not seen her. I have not seen her anywhere calling these guys, and yet they're telling us they are really available. Even on Sunday, they're still available. On Saturday, they are still unavailable. But why is it that the government cannot just take that step to call these people? They sit on the table, discuss, and then decide if this thing is possible to be solved at the moment. They solve it. If it's still, it can take some time. They can decide and agree that they give them a period of maybe after 1 year again, 30 days, 1 month, 2 months. They just discuss to solve this thing. But now, government is not even taking any step to handle this issue, and yet our guys are dying. Now, let's go to the education. Look at how the leaders are talking. They're saying that the situation is pathetic, and it's true. The situation is pathetic, and the same teachers also. They have issues on this issue of circulation of money in their institution. So Jakes, all these things, money has to circulate. Yeah, this is not a charity privilege. It's not a charity issue. Here, money has to circulate. You have to have money to have equipments, and those equipments ndo zinasaidia hata kwa hospitali. Hizo equipments ndo zinahitajika so that we can have better medical for our people ambao ni the patients. Now, when you go to schools, still we need money to have those equipments ambazo zinasaidia our students and our children also to perform well. Sasa wakati watakuwa wapewi pesa, walimu wapati pesa, hawalipo on time, it is a frustrating issue. It's a frustration moment ambao hata pia mwalimu hawezi kuwa na that courage ya kufunza mtoto vizuri. There's no way unaweza kufurahia wakati unalala njaa alafu asubuhi unaamka tunaenda kufanya kazi. Hata kufanya hiyo kazi, still kazi hautafanya na moyo wote kwa sababu unaumia. You are frustrated. Hata unaweza ingia kwa depression. And yet you are doing your work well. You have to be paid at the end of the month. But unapata in our government who have to supply the money, the government ambao kila siku billions of money zinapotea, the control of budget anatokezea anatuambia kuwa pesa zimepotea without even signing, without even discussion, without even debating with the issue. No authorities concerned about the issue, pesa zinapotea tu, lakini huku vitu ambazo zinafaa pesa haziko. You see, so it is a frustrating moment. We are in a pathetic situation whereby hatuwezi sema tuko mahali pazuri. Hata wakisema sije dola imeshuka ama nini, no, hatuko mahali pazuri. The situation is bad.
So with capitation inakuwa delayed, teachers, how do you think they are running the schools? Because Machogu says next week. In fact, he said 1 week, 2 weeks. He's not quite clear when that capitation will come into play, but
they're just managing us.
Teachers or rather schools are yet to receive their capitations. They're just managing us. And my question to you is this: the schools are running. Why wait till there is a crisis? Why wait? What's the problem? At one point, William Ruto alisema kwamba amechelewesha. If you remember one time, William Ruto said, the president, he said that amechelewesha pesa za county so that aweze kulipa kwanza watoto waingie shule. Then again, you still hear capitation. So where even are we? Who is telling what?
The problem is that we are not straightforward. We are not even okay. Let me just say that there is incompetency in those people who are on those top jobs. Yeah, watu ambao wangekuwa wanatusaidia. These are people about they are really not competent in that job. Kwa sababu wangekuwa ni watu wako competent, wangekuwa always wanafika on the ground, wanaangalia situation venye iko na wana act on that situation haraka sana. But these are the people ambao even I don't think kama kwa wanajua what is really happening in these schools. They don't know what is really happening even in our hospitals. Wakati watoto wamekosa mafunzo mazuri, they don't care because hawana that time. This thing is not in their heart. Yeah, they're just there for formality, but they are not really committed to help our students and to help our children and to help even in our health sector. Yeah.
Now let's discuss something that equally has been making news headlines. We'll talk more tomorrow about the issues of Raila and Ruto. Tutaingilia kesho zaidi. At least we have done over 1 hour and a half of Raila, so I didn't want us, or rather of Raila Odinga and his quest to buy C. I don't want us to really dive into that. But let's come back home and ask ourselves a certain question that is making in a trend hapo kwa Twitter. The issue of Jackie Maribe and Moses Kuria. Now Moses Kuria ana trend kwa sababu ya several things. You remember juzi tu Jackie Maribe alikuwa acquitted over the murder of one Monica Kimani. Just a quick one before I even play anything or display anything. What do you make of that appointment? And then PSC imekuja ika disassociate with that appointment. What is happening with Moses Kuria, Maribe, and this guy anaitwa Dennis Itumbi? What's happening?
You know, Maribe coming out of the hook. You know, Maribe was with the Joy, and they all participated in that thing. Yeah, they participated in the killings. So for Maribe to be removed from that hook, there was a force behind it. Now you're forced to Mona on the side of Itumbi being present. You see, Itumbi has been present all along. Although pia kulikuwa na some allegation kwa Itumbi was one of his girlfriend. I think that has been allegation which I cannot really sustain. But in this she was her boyfriend at some point. So what I can say ni kuwa, you know, what happened, it was unnecessary. Kwa sababu, remember, that is the day whereby nani alikuwa anakuwa judge, nani Joy was being was being sentenced, and he was with this woman ambaye ni Maribe, but the same day ndio siku ambayo pia Maribe anapewa kazi. So you know, some things happens ambao zina raise question marks on that issue. What I know is that it was unnecessary. Hangempatia kwanza kazi, wangegoja kwanza at least mambo yaende yatulie, ndio sasa apate baadaye. Lakini haraka haraka hii
alionekana Nakuru wakiwa pamoja.
Yeah.
I think I have the video where Jackie Maribe was seen very active in the company of one Moses Kuria, despite we can talk as it goes on. Here is Jackie Maribe on the phone. Alikuwa, this is a meeting that one Moses Kuria alikuwa ana preside over, ndio Moses Kuria akisalamia watu, and of course you'll see Jackie Maribe in the procession ama kwa hii team ya watu, and yet PSC imesema Public Service Commission imesema Maribe hajaandikwa job. So who's telling the truth, who's lying? Ameandikwa kama private PA wa Moses Kuria. What is her position? Of course I'll be playing the ameandikwa at what role, but ladies and gentlemen, you can see Jackie Maribe with Moses Kuria. What do you make of this?
Yeah, you know Jex, these things wakati wanaanza kuona kuna joto kidogo, obviously watajitenga nayo, but the truth is that Jackie Maribe amepewa kazi. There's something that I have forgotten, but nimeona ni kama good year ametukumbusha. You know, there's a clip ambayo nimeiona, a closer friend to Joy aliandika comment akisema kuwa this time round Joy asienda akakufa na hiyo kitu. It is as if people used him. Yeah, we have people who used Joy, and the friend was advising Joy to appeal that case, alafu amwage mtama. He should name all those people who participated, who sent him, who used him, so that asiende tu mpaka kwa jela akauliwa akufa na hiyo kitu kwa moyo. So the that sentence ambao anaandika hapo chini on the comment section, good year, which really makes sense, because the person who spoke about this issue, he wrote on the media. Yeah, that guy is a very close friend to Joy, and he wrote it on the media, lakini baadaye akuja kaifuta tena. So I think they were in a discussion na Joy akamwambia kwa this thing kuna power behind it, kuna watu ambao walinitumia na this si ati nilihusika tu, but nilitumika. So I could also advise Joy, if at all he was used, let him call these people out. He should just mention their names. Let the world know that these are the people who participated in killing that woman. Because
and sorry nimekukata, but I wanted to say this. Tutasikiza a footage that will be soon itatokea kwa Kenya Newslink. I'll just give you a small taste of it, but make sure you listen to it, to the video. It will be uploaded, I think, immediately after this show by our team. But let's listen in kidogo, and then I'll come back to you with Mr. G with what this means. All right.
Have taken to social media to congratulate Maribe on her appointment to the Ministry of Public Service. The appointment comes a month after Maribe was acquitted in a murder case involving late businesswoman Monica Kimani. On Sunday, March 10th, Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria appointed Maribe as the saw it coming. Sam Therese said, "Congratulations, Jackie Maribe, on your appointment as the head of Communication Ministry of Public Service Performance and Delivery Management. Many thanks to CS at Honorable Moses Kuria for believing in Jackie. Truly successes and through belief and dedication." As reported earlier, it was a relief for the former Citizen TV news anchor after the High Court acquitted her in the murder case of businesswoman Monica Kimani. Maribe was the second accused in the murder case of Kimani. While delivering the 117-page document in a packed courtroom on Friday, February 9th, Lady Justice Grace Nzioka said that the prosecution failed to prove Maribe was guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Maribe was accused of committing the offense and aided or abetted the first accused to commit the offense on September 9th, 2018 at Lamuria Garden, Nairobi. Now guys, as I've told you earlier, so many people went onto social media to react to Jackie Maribe's new job in Moses Kuria's office, including Dennis Itumbi. He praised CS Kuria's gesture for giving the former journalist a chance to continue with her career. And he went ahead and commented, "Congratulations, Jackie Maribe. May God bless you as you serve. Asante sana Moses Kuria for standing with a generation. Please keep doing good and stretching your hand." Jackie Maribe rose to become a prominent media personality. From her early days in the newsroom to her entanglement in high-profile controversies, Maribe's journey is marked by both professional success and personal challenges. Jackie Wanjiru Maribe was born on December 18th, 1989 in Murang'a County. She was raised in a middle-class family, exhibited a passion for storytelling and communication from a young age. Maribe pursued her education at a local high school before enrolling at the University of Nairobi, where she pursued a degree in journalism and media studies. Maribe's career in the media industry began to flourish during her university.
All right, that's just a sneak peek of what you should expect immediately after this. There is a nice show and a nice narration and, of course, expose about that story for Jackie Maribe and, of course, what has happened in the sense that Moses Kuria anasema ameandikwa job. We have seen one Dennis Itumbi congratulate the move. We have seen Jackie Maribe in the presence of Moses Kuria. Here is like one of the function we have seen her to be in the presence of Moses Kuria. So who's telling what? Because the PSC is claiming that she's not an employee, she has not been employed. So,
but looking at her,
yeah.
He just portrayed a picture of somebody who is employed. You know, Jex, we are human beings, and for Maribe to get that job, I'll congratulate her because I think the situation she has passed through, I think it came a point whereby she was in a depression also. Amekuja kapitia hali ngumu sana. So akipata kazi, being a human, obviously we will congratulate her. But now what I'm just against it is that imeenda haraka sana. At least wangempatia time because she was in a case whereby he has been acquitted. But after being acquitted, remember the guy that she was with, anaenda kunyongwa. Unaona, amepasiwa the death sentence. So I think by Moses Kuria appoint her that earlier, I think in a right question, that's why unaona inaweza kufanya mpaka tena akapoteza hiyo kazi, you see. But look at what Itumbi tweeted. Itumbi in fact congratulated her, which means Itumbi knows what happens. Itumbi is in the government, and for him to congratulate and just praising this guy CS, I think he knows better. So there's nothing about tunaweza sema tunadanganya. What we know is that Itumbi anajua exactly what is happening, and Maribe amepewa kazi na Moses Kuria, and Moses Kuria should just come out na explain tu ni ukweli amempatia kazi, which is not bad. Kumpea kazi si makosa. Yeah, she also needs a job. Yeah, but remember kama alihusika kwa ile kuua msichana wenyewe, she has to face also the consequences. That is where we draw the line.
Ladies and gentlemen, what do you make of this? She was acquitted. She's now employed. Barely 4 weeks after she was acquitted, and she's getting a state job.
Yeah.
You know, she's getting a state job.
But Joseph Kuria Irongo alias Joey dropped me to Royal Media Services. That's where Citizen Television is. At 8 a.m. in Kilimani. I was at Royal Media Services the entire day up until around 9:30 p.m. At his request, I stayed on at Royal Media Services up until around 10 p.m. where I left for Q Lounge. It's a restaurant right opposite Citizen Television. In the company of 2 of his employees, one referred to as Shaw and another one referred to as Odis. It's his nickname, Odis. Can I be allowed to get?
So, ladies and gentlemen, please get that show. Ni moto Kenya News Link wamekukompilia a very interesting footage. Make sure you subscribe to Kenya News Link upate hiyo uhono. Ni moto kama pasi, itakuwa very very interesting. And ukipata hiyo show, make sure ukipata hiyo kipindi hakikisha umeshare to as many of us as you can. Now, Mr. G, the judge alipeana a ruling. The ruling, kuna watu, as I told you the other day, kuna watu bado hawajakubali, and today news making headlines is that Joey ashatuma appeal. All right, so that ruling, as long as we appeal, that ruling it has to be upheld by the Court of Appeal. So far bado kuko na opportunity for him. When you look at all this, should Joy come out clean and just tell us this is what happened? Hata kama atanyongwa, but aseme ukweli. Ama, as someone was saying in a certain forum I was in, maybe the people who probably are responsible might not even allow him to live to tell that story.
Yeah, it's true. It's true because those people, what they are very powerful. But to me, I will advise Joy to split the beans, to split the to how do you call it?
Amwage mtama,
yeah, it comes from amwage mtama, yeah. Amwage mtama. You know, there's no way somebody can use you, alafu at the end of the day when unaenda kufa and yet watu wamekutumia wako nyuma wanarejoice kama sahi. Those people they don't have any problem. Wameketi kwao wanaangalia tu TV wanakunywa chai huku huyu jamaa akiwa anapitia mambo ambayo si mazuri. So I think Joy should just come out clear na aseme ukweli. Yeah, aseme ukweli exactly what really happened na kila mtu ajue. Hata akiuliwa atauliwa akiwa amesema ukweli. But sasa akaendelea kujikaza hivi sioni kama is a better thing ya kufanya. Yeah, he should just come out clear.
Now, there's equally a very interesting thing that has happened. The first person who brought that story to us, that Moses about your story, Jackie Marie, that guy ameshatishiwa maisha. Kuna mtu ametishiwa maisha. The person who brought that expose. So this is a footage from NTV, and ladies and gentlemen, history ya Jackie na Joy haiendi mahali. Listen to this from NTV. This is not ours. This is from NTV, of one journalist mwenye anaelezea kwamba maisha yake kwa hatarini simply because aling'ang'ana kuelezana ukweli. Listen to this even as we go on hapa kwa studio na Mr.
Media Group correspondent Mwangi Mwiruri this morning reported an attack on his person a day after the Public Service Performance and Delivery Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria accused him of forging a text from him ascribing the appointment of Jackie Maribe as head of communication for his ministry to the Public Service Commission, a claim the commission denied as false. Wiruri says he was accosted at 5:30 a.m. on Friday morning at the Makutano Junction on the Nairobi-Nyeru Embu Road intersection by 3 armed men in navy blue suits who were in a white Mazda Demio whose plates were covered in mud. Wiruri reported to the Makutano police station that he suffered a bruise to his left eye and had his phone and 2,000 shillings stolen from him. In a series of tweets on X, CS Kuria had threatened to report Wiruri and the Nation Media Group to the DCI on Friday morning for allegedly forging a text message on the circumstances surrounding the appointment of Maribe to his office. He did, however, go on to post that he would stand with Maribe, as the PSC stated that the position she now occupies should have been filled through competitive recruitment.
Mr. G, what do you make of this? That hata anatishia na maisha yule mwenye ameexpose hizi stories za Jackie Maribe. Anasema huyo jamaa anasema alivamiwa na watu bwana kwa sababu ya kuleak hizo stories za Jackie Maribe. What do you make of it?
Yeah, you know, always that is Kenya. In Kenya, always, in fact, ukiwa na deal na watu ambao they are those powerful people, those cartels, it is easy kukumaliza. And rahisi sana kukumaliza. That's why hata pia Joy, obviously najua ametishiwa maisha. That one I'm very sure ametishiwa. That's why mpaka sasa bado hajasema kitu. But I know he should just come out strong. Aseme. Kwa sababu anyway, akisema asiposema, wakisema wanataka kumuua watamuua. You see, sasa yeye atakuwa amelose. Afadhali aseme mapema, hata wakimuua atakuwa tayari ashasema ukweli maliko. Instead of hiding, na kuna watu ambao wanamtumia kinyume. Yeah. To me, I know that is how Kenya operates.
Ajitokeze tu aseme ukweli.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, Moses Kuria amekuwa involved na very funny stories hapo mbeleni. Like, you remember he was the first person to arrive at a scene of someone who was killed sometimes back.
Yeah.
And
the IBC
that is an unresolved issue. Now,
aingilie kati.
There's a man ambaye pia ana trend. Huyu jamaa kuna maneno amesema. I want you to listen to him and then you tell me what you think.
Kwa sababu haki Kenya haipo. Haki haipo kabisa. Ila Mungu tu aingilie Kenya ndiposa haki ipatikane, lakini Kenya haki haipo kabisa. Haipo. Angalia vizuri yule mtu ambaye yuko nje wa serikali, huyo mtu ndio huwa anachukuliwa kama kafara ya kutolewa. Na kati hawa watu wawili unakuta kwamba Joey huyu ndio makosa yake yanaonekana sana kwa sababu yeye amechukuliwa kama kondoo wa kafara. Katika yale mambo kuna watu walioyatekeleza, hakutokeleza Joey peke yake. Kuna watu waliotekeleza na hata watu ambao wako kwenye nyadhifa za juu ambao katika kile kitendo pia walihusika. Lakini kondoo wa kutolewa kafara ni Joey.
Kondoo wa kutolewa kafara ni Joey. What do you think?
That is how
Joey is the
sacrificial, and that is how things are. Yeah, he is the sacrificial lamb. Unajua, because sasa ameonekana kuwa yeye is the weaker point. Yeye ndo anakuwa sasa easy target. Yeah, he is the easiest target ambao anaweza kumsacrifice haraka. You find mtu kama Maribe, unaambiwa Maribe came from a middle class community, yani family, alafu pia ni mtu ambaye amejuana sana na politician, so she cannot be a sacrificial lamb. But this guy ambaye ametoka from a very low family, low class family, even though amekuwa amehusika kidogo na some prominent people, but he's the easiest target ambaye anaweza shikwa na akafanyiwa vile anafanyiwa sahi. In fact, huyo jamaa ameongea ukweli kabisa. Yeah, in Kenya there's no justice. That's why hata yesterday, yesterday when we were talking about that discussion of Senate, wakati walikuwa na impeach the deputy, for us we knew kabisa that the deputy governor ako na makosa, but we are very confident that atasamehewa because of how Kenya does the work, wanafanya kazi yao. The Senate huwa pia most of the time wamepeana rulings ambazo haziko za sawa. That's why in Kenya you cannot get justice. Yeah, it is very rare to get justice in Kenya.
Talking about the impeached deputy governor, he becomes the first deputy governor in the history of Kenya to be impeached. The second thing that I want to ask you that is quite interesting. Mtu amekuja anasema nilitoa mnulungula ama nilitoa hongo and I gave it to government official. In there lies a crime. Unfortunately, both perpetrators, one is the one who has been impeached, but the one who gave the money was allowed to cry, to be dramatic and all that. Mbona immediately tu alipomaliza kutoa hiyo ushahidi hakushikwa? Because it's a crime to bribe a government official for any reason, whether you got that position or not. Is it not a crime? And number two, why is the Senate not equally? Because you should also equally be seen to be fair. As much as they were praising Lucy and Grace, those who returned back money that was given to them by this deputy governor, why as well did they condemn the people who came among the footages that were played of people who are saying, I gave 12,000 so as to get bursary, I gave 8,000 so as to get bursary, because that in there lies in a crime. What do you think?
You know, Jakes, in Kenya, when you play a victim card, unaenda free. As long as una play a victim card, unaenda free. Looking at what happened yesterday, you know, yesterday it was just a comedy. Although you say that it was a sad day, I remember you say, you can remember, you said that yesterday was a sad day for the deputy governor to be impeached. But to me, it was not a sad day. Yeah, you said it, but to me, it is not a sad day because it was a comedy yesterday. Remember, it was the same day whereby a father anaruka mtoto wake mbele ya watu, mbele ya Senate. A father anaruka mtoto wake. A family member wanapigana, yani wanakosana, family members. And it was really a comedy yesterday. Unapata mtu ameenda kutoa hongo 800,000 alafu anaanza kulialia pale, watu wanamuonea huruma. Mtu ametoa hongo, watu wanamuonea huruma. And you know, yesterday it was a really comedy. Yeah,
you know, I felt sad is because Senate was just stamping of how it was delivering justice. But where is justice when two people who committed a crime were not equally punished? Because this guy who comes out and brags that aliuza biashara, you know, akahamia Kisii, and then akaongea na babake wakapeleka pesa, all that's a crime.
Yeah, but in fact, they are not two people. It is not a two people. That was a group of comedians.
Even the father himself.
Even the mother pia akakuwa dragged in. Mpaka the wife anaenda kutoa mtoto. Akakuwa dragged in just for sympathy. Unajua in Kenya ukitaka sympathy, kesi yako inaenda vizuri sana. Yeah. But
and as I told you, the county assembly lawyers had done a good job preparing those witnesses, telling them, you know what, you must go the whole hog by crying, you know, be theatrical, let a drama, let a vitimbi, Leah, you know, make it emotional. You must appeal to the hearts of these senators. But therein, they forgot that there was a crime taking place where you have two suspects, or rather two culprits coming out. Moja ana confess alipokea pesa, mwingine ana confess alitoa do. Si hapo hata polisi wangekuwa tu hapo nje wakiwangojea. What do you think?
Exactly. You know, Jakes, there's something I wanted to say. Kuna msemo kwa Kiswahili inasema siku ya kufa nyani, sijui miti zote kutereza, kuna kitu kama hiyo. Because ile watu walikuwa na confess kwa wamefanya dhambi. Yeah. They were just confessing kwa wametenda dhambi, and I think if at all kitu kama inaweza fanyika, then kisi kumeoza kabisa, because sasa just imagine how many people wamejificha huko ambao wanapitia what is happening. Watu wangapi wamejificha? Mm.
Aha. Mhm.
So there's a lot of issues in Kisii ambao naona nani amesema it's a sad, but it is sad because the comedy inakuja.
That's comedy for you here in Kenya, right?
It is comedy. Ile you
Inakuanga
cannot say
moja.
that it is sad. Unajua it is sad
Yeah.
where a father ana disown his child because of
Yeah,
corruption.
yeah.
Yeah, hapo inakuwa at least sad, lakini still bado is a comedy, si sad tena vile.
Now, the other question that maybe I didn't ask you, Jana, what do you think is the state of Osoro? Because Osoro alikuja kwa media akasema Simba Rat will suffer shame, nani Monda is not going anywhere. He was even in the Senate trying to defend Monda, but unfortunately that didn't sail through. Kidogo later on, I think, was it the same day? No, the following day, tukamwona akitetea one Pastor Ng'ang'a wa Neno Evangelism. What do you think is now the state of Osoro going forward?
You know, Osoro knew that the president, who is Ruto, ataingilia katikati hiyo kitu. You know what has been happening ni kuwa anytime kumekuwa na issue that needed intervention of the MPs ama Senate from the UDA side, walikuwa wanaitwa State House, alafu wanapewa maagizo how they should vote and how they should run their things. Sasa on this thing, Osoro was 100% sure that the president will also be behind them, but I think president was not behind them. President aliwawacha peke yao wa make their decision. You know, there's something that happened in Kisii. Unakumbuka ile wakati alikuwa anapiga marisasi mpaka akapiga mtu ambaye alikuwa I think is a bodyguard of Harati, akapigwa masikio na risasi. Yeah, that thing was really shameful for a leader, in fact the majority leader kufanya kitu kama hiyo. It was really shameful, na hiyo imemcost sana kule Kisii. I don't think kama anaendelea kuvisit Kisii anakuwa na visit kitambo. And with that I think also intelligence inaweza kuwa inaweza ambia president kuwa this guy with this conduct, I think she's not the good person to be closer to him, atakuharibia jina. So I think for him alikuwa bado anafikiria kuwa the president is closer to him, kumbe president aliona zile vitu akasema no, he cannot defend this thing kwa sababu kumekuwa na a lot of shame. So yesterday the Senate wakaachwa peke yao wa make a decision, and I think they made the right decision to impeach the deputy governor, but at least wangeweza pia kugusia hiyo mambo ambayo tumeongelea, the comedy ambayo ilikuwa between the whole group, lakini walimiss that point of dealing with the corruption ambayo ilikuwa inaendelea, wakasacrifice one person ambaye alikuwa ni deputy governor peke yake. Yeah, but what I'm trying to say ni
kingine ambayo pia leo imehappen.
Yeah, what I was trying to say ni kuwa Osoro amejimaliza. Yeah, Osoro ameonekana kuwa amejikaranga mwenyewe kwa mafuta yake. That is what msemo za Kiswahili zinasema.
Amejikokota mwenyewe. All right.
Yeah.
Now the final thing I'm about to display, and then I'll play a clip after, but I'll want to listen to you what you say. The president today, President William Ruto, amepea watu initango elder recognition, elder something, let me read it for you. Amepea watu elder of the golden heart, EGH. Kuna watu wamepewa leo EGH. Oh, sorry, I'm sure you cannot really see the nini. I hope you can see it, but I can read it for you. Tomorrow I'll make sure these things are quite legible. But anasema hivi, President William Ruto has awarded Elder of the Order of Golden Heart, EGH, medals to the following cabinet secretaries. 1, Njuguna Ndung'u, huyu ni CS wa finance. 2, Aisha Juma, ni CS wa gender heritage na hizo vitu zote. Florence Bore na Alice Wahome, saying their services to the nation are exemplary. Okay, sorry. This last part of the show lazima tuwe na comedy kidogo. Amewaward because wanasema kazi yao imekuwa moto sana, imekuwa kazi tamu sana. What do you make of that? Not that they don't deserve it. president has all the intelligence in the world. Know that because anajua kazi yao. Maybe as per him, wamefanya kazi kulingana na jinsi expectation ya president. So they deserve this order of the golden heart. What do you make of this award, Bwana Mr. G?
You know, to me, always been nimekwambia, I really question anyone ambapo ana trust what Ruto says and what Ruto does, because most of the time this is a guy ambaye he's full of propaganda and he's full of lies. Sasa looking at what happens sahi akiwapatia award these people, ni kitu gani mzuri ambao wamefanya? To me, I don't see anything ambao they deserve it. I don't see it. But kwa sababu yake ni mtu ambaye anapenda kupatiana, yani ku reward. I can use that word, to reward. Anapenda ku reward watu wake sana. But I know there's something behind. There's something behind it that he's trying to hide, so that watu wasiweze kujua. But baadaye tu itatokeza. Iweze jificha kabisa. Haitajificha miaka yote. We will come to know the truth of what he's trying to hide.
Lakini, let me surprise you. Just barely 10 days ago, unfortunately that day we didn't have a show. We had the challenge with our studio, but barely 10 days ago, I think exactly 10 days ago, one Aisha Jumwa alikuwa anakarangwa vibaya sana kule Senate. And there's something that one bullfighter said, and equally one Senator, what do you call him? Senator Sifuna said about Aisha Jumwa. Aisha Jumwa alikuwa ameitwa Senate na alikataa kwenda, and alipokataa kwenda, because the reason why I'm laughing, I remember this footage and this incident that happened in Parliament. In the Senate. Senators walikuwa na complain about the competence or the incompetence of some of these leaders. I want to listen. I want us to listen in to what happened in the Senate. I don't know if you remember this, but let me play it even as we near wrapping up this show. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This was in the Senate, I think around 8-10 days ago. Listen in.
Mr. Speaker, kwani wewe utanifundisha vile nitazungumza katika Senate? Senator Boni. Thank you. Engage your colleagues. Thank you. Talk through the chair. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have this inkling that the minister who has failed to come rudely this morning is holed somewhere following these proceedings now, just to see how we are going to handle a case. And I want to request you, Mr. Speaker, sir, that you allow the House to exercise Standing Order number 51D. And because the minister is watching these proceedings, 51D, Mr. Speaker, states that the Senate may, where a cabinet secretary fails without reasonable cause to appear and respond to questions under this part, move a motion to censure the cabinet secretary. This minister is now ripe for motion of censure because she has never appeared before this House. And severally, we have asked her to come and respond to matters of grave national importance. She's a letdown to the structure of government. She's failing the executive, and with due respect, without being seen to be using the name of the president, I put it to the president that this is dereliction of duty. This minister is not fit to hold public office. If she was, she would not have failed to find time to be here this morning, and last week find time to go and consult with the leader of the opposition in waiting at his Capitol Hill office. Why does she choose to transact matters on gender, 2/3 rule, at Capitol Hill, and she cannot come and appeal the same in this House. Mr. Speaker, you must use the vast powers in your possession. You protect the integrity of the Senate. A minister cannot believe that she can hold us at ransom. There are so many young women. There are so many middle-aged women. There are so many women of advanced age, Mr. Speaker, who are fit to serve this country as minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mheshimiwa Spika, nilikuwa nimekinoa Kiswahili changu kwa ajili ya ujio wa Waziri Aisha Jumwa ili tuweze kukutana moja kwa moja. Kwa hivyo utaniruhusu nizungumze Kiswahili hicho ili kisiende bure, hata kama hajafika. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwanza nimjulishe ndugu yangu seneta wa Meru kwamba nimefanya kikao pamoja na mwenyekiti wa kamati ya usafiri Mheshimiwa Karungo Wathangwa na yule ambaye ni balozi wa nchi ya Japan kuhusu shida za trafiki katika barabara ya Ngong Road, na ametuahidi kwamba serikali ya Japan kupitia ushirikiano na serikali ya Kenya itazindua mfumo wa mabasi ya kasi katika barabara hiyo ya Ngong Road, na natumai kwamba itapelekea wewe kupata nafuu unapofika kazini hapa katika bunge la Senate. Jambo la pili, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni kwamba mimi ni baadhi ya wale ambao wanakaa katika ile kamati ya SBC ama huduma za bunge hili. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa kweli tunapata msukumo sana kutoka kwa hao wenzetu ambao tunawakilisha katika kamati ile, kwa sababu ukiangalia ratiba ya masuala ambayo yalikuwa yashughulikiwe leo hii, Mheshimiwa Enoch Wambua ametoka Kitui leo asubuhi ili aweze kuuliza masuala yake kwa yule waziri wa usafiri. Kuna masuala mengi hata mimi nilikuwa nataka nimuulize yule ambaye ni waziri wa masuala ya kifedha kuhusu mfumo mzima wa e-Citizen ambao Wakenya wengi wanatusukuma tufanye kitu juu yake. Kwa hivyo ni jambo la kuvunja moyo sana, haswa kwa waziri Aisha Jumwa ambaye nilimuona juzi, Mheshimiwa Spika, akiwa maeneo ya kule Western akiwarai wakazi wa Vihiga kutoruhusu viongozi fulani kuzungumza iwapo maoni yao yatakinzana na maoni yake ama maoni ya watu wa mrengo wake. Na nilishtuka sana kwa sababu najua mawaziri wafai kujiingiza katika siasa, na aliibua hisia kali sana kwangu kwa sababu alizungumzia swala ambalo lilikuwa linanihusu wakati moja nikiwa katika eneo bunge lake.
Seneta wa Nairobi.
Mheshimiwa Spika, namaliza.
Hoja ambayo iko mbele ya Seneti kwa sasa,
naam,
ni kutokuwepo kwa mawaziri. Walioyafanya wiki iliyopita ama mwezi uliopita hayaambatani kamwe na hoja ambayo iko mbele yetu.
Nimekuelewa Mheshimiwa Spika.
Uzungumze pengine unashtumu vikali ama
ndo nachanga huo ukali, yani Spika, tafadhali.
Unaanzia mbali sana.
Kwa dakika moja tu nimalize.
Unaanzia mbali.
Yani kitu ambacho nilikuwa nataka kiibuke wazi ni kwamba mawaziri hawa wanapata nafasi ya kufanya mambo mengine, lakini shughuli ya bunge hawatilii kipaumbele. Alikuwepo kwenye mazishi, nimetoka kwenye stesheni ya redio ya KBC, wananiambia alikuwepo jana na yeye katika kituo hicho hicho. Kama anapata fursa ya kwenda mazishini kukemea viongozi, kwenda katika vyombo vya habari, kwa nini asije hapa na sisi pia tupate fursa ya kuzungumza naye? Kwa sababu dada yangu Gloria, Mheshimiwa Senator Gloria Orwopa, wiki iliyopita alitukemea sana, haswa viongozi wa vyama ambao walishiriki ile mdahalo ama dialogue ambayo ilikuwepo, ya kwamba tuliwacha masuala ya kina mama nyuma. Nilikuwa nataka waziri aje hapa adhihirishe kwamba si kwa kukosa kuwasilisha hoja zetu kama viongozi wa ODM, bali kuna masuala ambayo yalikuwa yanafanyika ndani ya wizara yake. Kwa hivyo ni yeye pekee alikuwa anaweza kuniondoa katika mtego uliokuwa umetegwa na Mheshimiwa Gloria, lakini sasa hayupo hapa. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa, mimi nataka nikemee vikali kukosa kuja mbele ya bunge kwa Mheshimiwa Aisha Jumwa, haswa kwa sababu wenzake wengine walikuwa na ile courtesy ya kuandika barua kwa spika. Heshima, asante Mheshimiwa Spika, walikuwa na ile heshima kwa bunge hili kuandika barua kusema kwamba ama katesi, naambiwa unaweza sema katesi Mheshimiwa Spika. Wakaandika barua kujulisha wabunge kwamba hawatafika.
Na Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka nikuombe swala moja tu. Wakati ambapo tulikuwa katika mkutano wa SBC niliuliza swala, je, kuna njia gani ya kuwajulisha wale ambao wameuliza maswala mapema kwamba maswala yao hayatapata kujibiwa kwa sababu waziri ameandika.
All right, and it continued and continued, but by the end of the day it was interesting seeing this happening in parliament. Huyu ni already amekuwa awarded kwa kazi safi, lakini kuna watu bado wanasema awe impeached. Sasa sijui what do you look at? Yes, Mr. G.
You know, the incompetency in this government, it is on high, and equal in a very high level. But now the problem is that pia watu wao wameanza kujua, you know, listening to what nani anaongea, the majority in Senate, huyu jamaa bullfighter, yeah, majority whip. You know, bullfighter kitambo hapo alikuwa anaongea vibaya sana, angeza kuongea na anaongea sahi, but I think amechange. Yeah, I think there's some transformation imefanyika kwake. Now he's talking like a man who have sense in him. Wakati anaongea hivyo, listening to what ameongea na the behavior ya the bravado ya nani ya huyo Aisha Juma, Aisha Juma, utapata it's true that woman is really incompetent at that work. Na sasa kitu ambacho inatushangaza ni kwa why is it that he's being summoned na haizi kuja kwa parliament.
Okay.
Yeah, alafu huku now the president anawapatia reward. You know, there's a problem with this government. Ni kama ililaaniwa, ile laana imewa blind. Yeah, they are blinded with the laana ambayo ililaaniwa nayo. So they cannot see anything.
That's why I'm asking you. 8 days ago, they were calling for her impeachment. 8 days later, she's being awarded with Elder of the Golden Heart, EGH.
Exactly.
Interesting, eh?
Amefanya nini sasa?
Sasa hiyo ilikuwa tu kutupika Senate. Hiyo si kosa kubwa.
No,
Yet,
there's a problem.
One of the things the president wanted to achieve in his office is that the cabinet secretaries watakuwa wanaappear parliament to answer questions and, you know, give government positions and of course so that to encourage transparency. So when they are not coming up,
so there's a problem. The government has a problem. There's a big problem, and that's why unapata there's a problem in that's why unapata there's a problem in health sector. Wakati hata our doctors wako in strike sahi, they are trying to call the government to come out. They sit on the table, they discuss this matter. Hakuna mtu anaenda pale. The CS ambaye amechukuliwa pale kwa that docket hata hajaonekana, hajulikani yuko wapi, and that our people are suffering. The doctors wameweka tools down, people are dying, and hapo unapata wanakuwa rewarded the best. This government, I think this was a comedy.
Government. Sawa. Tutacheka kesho zaidi. Asante sana kwa kuwa nami Mr. G. We had a challenge with our stream, that's why we couldn't have more guests. But wewe ambaye uliweza, asante sana kwa kufika Mr. G. I really commend you. Hope you're well and you are strong enough kulala sasa, sio? I'm sure it's good we end it on a high.
I'm okay, sir.
Asante sana. I wish you, nadhani bado stima haijarudi kwenyu, eh?
No, sahi naona iko imerudi, lakini ile ya kunini ile ya makengeza. I think you understand what I'm saying.
Naelewa hiyo, na mimi shida ya stima najua kufika. I think witness what we go through here, but we are doing well so far. One whole week bila issue. We are really grateful. We are really grateful. Asante sana Mr. G. Allow me to end the show there. We'll definitely have another interesting one in the tomorrow evening. Tomorrow being a Sato, kuna mambo kibao.
But I don't know. A guy. There's a guy. I think I saw Omoshwanawa. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah, Omoshwanawa ametuma salamu. Asante sana bwana Omosh. At times I am not quick to think these guys are true until maybe niamini ni account yake, but asante sana if you're the one. Asante sana Omosh 1 hour. Asante sana, nimeona pia Goodia acknowledge Omosh 1 hour na amesalamiana na Omosh 1 hour. Thank you guys for being part of the show. Goodia, Omosh 1 hour, and many who are part of the show in kwa comment section, akina Geoffrey Ruto, akina Sabrina, and everyone else who was part of the comment show, and you, our viewers as well. Thank you very much. It's always an awesome time when we are together in this show. This has always been time what na nice. What nakuwa na nice time hapa. I don't know, Mr. G, what do you make of the show?
I think it was nice. Ni ile tu challenge kidogo ambayo tumepitia ya power kupotea, but I think it was a nice show. Ile pia kazi mingi ya mchana unapata umechoka, but right. I think, you know, somebody said that even the discussion, you know, this discussion that we always do, pia tunajenga Kenya, we are building the nation by just discussing, because some things ambao pia watu wanapata and when wanazitumia sometimes inawasaidia, I think haiendi bure. So as much as we sacrifice and the challenges that tunapitia, still we are building also our nation, and boy, is a good thing. Yeah.
All right, as usual, this is Kenya News Link. Hapa ndipo, hapo nakuta akina G, akina Pogon, akina Alex, akina Julia, wote wanapatikana hapa Kenya News Link na wanafanya kazi moja fiti. Akina Debbie, they are doing a nice job. They are preparing interest. By the way, you should subscribe to Kenya News Link. The things zinakuja hapo utapenda wadau, including what we have just shown you on a nice episode coming up after this, and it would really explain more about Joey and Maribe. You don't want to miss that one. It's a nice footage, and ukiona sambazia wengine. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. G, and to many of us who participated in the show. Asante, asante sana. See you tomorrow, same time, same place, hapa Kenya News Link, and as usual nitawaacha na a nice fantastic melody ambayo has almost become our anthem. Tongeza playlist kidogo, lakini kwa sasa jibambe na hii hadi kesho. Kadi tamati ndo hiyo. Asante sana, nimekuwa wenyu Jix the moderator together with Mr. G, and this has been Kenya News Link. Bye bye, see you kesho, same place, same time. Asante, majaliwa.
Tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu. Tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu. Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie. Kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Mwaka wa 60 umefika, tangu Kenya iwe huru. Mwaka wa 60 umefika, tangu Kenya iwe huru. Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie. Kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Twaenda mbio kokote, Kenya yaenda mbele kokote. Kwa elimu twaenda mbele kokote, matibabuni twaenda mbele kokote, viwandani twaenda mbele kokote, na mashambani twaenda mbele kokote. Kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Tunajivunia Kenya nchi yetu, kweli yapendeza, kweli yavutia. Tunajivunia Kenya nchi yetu, kweli yapendeza, kweli yavutia. Kenya nchi yangu nitaitoloza, nitailinda maishani mwangu. Kenya nchi yangu nitaitoloza, nitailinda maishani mwangu. Simama, Wakenya wote simama. Simama, wewe shujaa, simama. Nchi yangu, jukumu langu, mimi ni shujaa, shujaa. Najivunia taifa langu, mimi ni shujaa, shujaa. Simama, Wakenya wote simama. Simama, wewe shujaa, simama. Simama, Wakenya wote simama. Simama, wewe shujaa, simama.
Kenya yaito beautiful, mazingira tobwate colorful. Aba Kenya na bantu wonderful, proud to be Kenyan, I'm grateful. Oh, na bujinguru jaito, jinguru jaito, to sigeta basani bense jaito. Oh, marembo ito.
Tusonge kwa pamoja. Tumetoka mbali, tunaenda mbali. Sote kwa pamoja. Nchi yangu, jukumu langu, mimi ni shujaa, shujaa. Najivunia taifa langu, mimi ni shujaa, shujaa. Simama, Wakenya wote simama. Simama, simama, wewe shujaa, simama. Simama, Wakenya wote simama. Simama, wewe shujaa, simama.
Never do a calling tunturi kuanga tugu tuangalia ukatumo kibuka. Kenya yaitu ni nsi ya mashujuka. Never kigano katingu suka.
Jukumu langu, naijenga nchi yangu. Hatuchagui kazi, kazi ni kazi. Boda boda, vijana mitaani.
Kenya yaitu molembe. Nobo mono wachani talikende. Nande tiganya saya atolende. Atokitera tuagatebo tambe.
Nchi yangu, jukumu langu, mimi ni shujaa, shujaa. Najivunia taifa langu, mimi ni shujaa, shujaa. Simama, Wakenya wote simama. Simama, wewe shujaa, simama. Simama, Wakenya wote simama. Simama, wewe shujaa, simama.
Ukabila ni mbaya ndo maana na upinga, shujaa namba moja, nchi yangu nailinda. Tunapenda amani, upendo na haki. Tumetoka kwa giza twaishi kwa mwanga. Wanamuziki ni shujaa, walimu wote ni shujaa, madaktari ni shujaa, na wachimba migodi ni shujaa, wavuvi nao ni shujaa, wanariadha ni shujaa, wachezaji wote ni shujaa, bam 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 ni shujaa. Wewe